It means a standard. An American standard.
It means it was born here.
Raised here.
Processed here.
It means the healthiest food for a healthier future.
If you're going to use the American flag,
It better be American.
From start to finish, supporting American farmers,
ranchers,
And producers.
This is what America looks like.
Built on grit, backed by the people who live it.
From generation
to generation.
There's no faking the standard, because when you see this label,
It means exactly what it says.
born here, raised here,
Processed here.
from the land of the free, product of USA.
While I don't have a giant cowboy hat or chaps, I am most assuredly a product of the USA. I was born in America, made in America, and I'm very proud of it. Hope you guys are proud of it too. Today's going to be a very Americana type show, as President Trump's going to be talking to farmers, and we're going to be talking about some stuff that J.D. Vance chaired this morning. I got some news for you on the Iran front, and I'm not even going to go into what the Senate did last night. Not going to talk about it. It's Friday. I just closed on a great deal. The kids are coming down this weekend with Ashley. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have a send-off today on a Friday, and we're not even going to talk about the insanity of what the Senate did to President Trump last night. Nope, not going to do it. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, but not today. Yes, in case you haven't heard, they sold us out once again and decided after President Trump turned the screws on the Democrats, the Republicans, some reason caved. I could spend an entire show on it. Not going to do it. Maybe he'll talk a bit about it today. Maybe there's a plan for the reconciliation that we don't know. But in any event, I got nothing to say about these people because it's Friday. TGIF, let's go ahead and have a good time today. It's Friday. And then on the other side of coin, I just want to let you guys know, of course, because of what happens, you guys are now hopefully getting the gist of things and when to like turn the different knobs and do what you need to do personally. I want to show you something. And those of you that have been watching probably already know what this means. So when you see these kind of headlines, oil tops $110 again, after Chinese ships are turned away from the Strait of Hormuz. When you see those kind of things, by now, have you gotten to the point where you're educated enough to know, I know what that means. I know that oil is way up there again. What does that mean? Well, what it means is when oil gets that high, you see a gold spike. And when you see that gold spike and it's vertical like that, that means there's a bunch of people making money on a Friday. If you know what I mean. And I hope you do. And then, of course, you see a gold spike like that, then you got to go look at silver. And you see a straight up trajectory. Not even like gradual. Bing, bada bing, bada boom. What's that mean? Some people making some money today, if you get my drift here. I'm no longer going to be apologetic about it. I am going to be extremely happy about it. And I'm not going to focus on the bad stuff that happened with the Senate last night. We're going to focus on the good stuff. And that good stuff is good old American greenbacks. And I think that's what President Trump is going to be talking about today when he's talking about the farmers and how we're going to help the farmers make more money and feed America. Again, as you see this stuff, you now yourself have to be at a point where like, damn, Barry's told us to watch for this stuff. He said, watch and see what happens. And sure enough, bada bing, bada boom, straight up. Not even hey, oil's high. Bing, makes money. And it just so happens it's on a Friday. So everybody can make their profits. And then what happens after they make profits? Then they sell off on Monday or whatever, or later in the day. You just have to time this stuff correctly. They make it sound like it's really hard. They make it sound like you know, it's not for you. It's way over your head. You can't handle this. But in fact, you most assuredly can. They just don't want you to know about it. I'm going to talk about that later, too, in terms of some more stuff we're going to get to. But I try to do my part to show people. A lot of you guys have understood it and begun educating yourselves and taking that leap of financial faith, we'll call it. But a body at rest will stay at rest. It doesn't move anywhere. Real quick, let me just tell you, like I've said, if you bought some gold and silver, and I told you, don't freak out. Just watch the markets, see what's happening. They are manipulating everything, and they're trying to do everything to suppress it for regular people. The only way regular people survive in terms of investments are knowing what to look for. That's the big thing. You have to understand what you're looking at. So if you don't know what you're looking at, then you're just sitting back going, I don't know what's happening. The days of excessive money printing, overvalued markets, and global unrest are finally catching up to the elite. Instead of pulling back, now is the time to do your research so that you can be prepared. Keep your eyes open to trends and get the information from my friends at Lear Capital that'll help educate you. Experts are still predicting $6,000 gold, $150 to $200 silver. Everything you're seeing right before your eyes, I cover it almost daily, and you can see it yourself. It's being driven by geopolitical uncertainty. Even in our own government, people are manipulating things. Inflation concerns are freaking people out, although it shouldn't. It shouldn't, really. Inflation, if you are beating inflation with your own investments, then why the hell do you care about inflation? Can you imagine being in a point in your life where 10, 20, 30 cents at the gas tank doesn't matter? Because your appreciation is doing better than your inflation. And then the other people worried about a weakening U.S. dollar that soon will have President Trump's signature on it. Is it time for you to buy gold or silver? That's a decision you're going to have to make. I can help you. The people at Lear can help you. If you call them, they'll help you by getting you the most accurate, timely information you'll need to make an informed decision. Call the best in the business and a company Robin and I personally trust and do business with. I'm not just here advocating. I actually do business with these people, which is a lot more than a lot of other people can say. Call Lear Capital. It's a free call. There's no obligation to purchase, just education and information on protecting and growing your wealth with gold and silver. I'm sure there are many of you that haven't called and haven't purchased yet for whatever reason. That's on you. But they'll walk you through shifting some of your money sitting in a retirement account over to physical gold and silver. It's easy to do. I've been extremely satisfied with Lear's knowledge, their service, and their overall dedication to educating people. I've been educated so much over the last year. I urge you to call today and learn more. 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com to learn more. Now, I just want to say this. I don't know if she's here. I don't want to embarrass her, but I want to profoundly thank Beth for everything she did in helping us bring this big boat into dock. I'm talking about the sale of the investment property that we just consummated yesterday and today. Beth, I salute you. You did more than I could imagine. And then I wish I could get the text from Robin. I want to get this text from Robin that the sellers sent. I mean, I'm the seller. The buyers sent us telling us everything that Beth did. What I'll do is after I get SV on here with any news he has, then I'll go to the intro. And while that's playing, I'll ask Robin to send me that the glowing text that she got from the buyers. SB, you there? You got anything for us?
Yes, I am.
What do you
yes,
got?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Happy Friday.
By the way,
Yeah,
SB is going to be gone. SB is going to be gone for a couple of days out there playing pickleball. I guess the weather's in Virginia is going to be good for you.
Yeah, just tomorrow. It's going to be in the afternoon. I'm playing down in Williamsburg, so just for the day.
A tournament or just hanging out?
No, it's a tournament. I'm playing men's doubles in a 4-5 event. So yeah, looking to have fun. I played yesterday. I was good to get out. It's so nice. The only thing I don't like is I have allergies and the pollen is horrible. It's like It's like a yellow snowstorm out there. So got to deal with that, but it is what it is, you know?
You need the sea breeze. You need the sea breeze to clear all that stuff out.
That's why I come down every once in a while. I'll see you guys when I come down to Fort Lauderdale, right?
Anything cooking yet?
Yeah, I mean, I have a few things. I won't talk about what you said. I actually posted that in the chat earlier just to give a little heads up. But here's something. Do you remember I posted on your one of your comments? I said, "Is there anything Democrats do that isn't illegal, immoral, or dangerous?" Shaking my head. No. Well, funny. Democratic Chair Phyllis McCormick.
Oh, she's right from here. She's from about 10 miles south of us in Tamarack is where she's from. Very familiar with that crook.
Right. She was just declared guilty on 25 out of 27 counts for funneling $5 million in FEMA disaster funds to her campaign and a fat diamond ring. So she's definitely going to be wearing some orange stuff. Hopefully, Big Tish will be doing the same thing.
But she wasn't declared guilty in court yet. She was just declared guilty in the House. And so I guess from there, they'll go ahead and get some criminal charges. But now we're going to see, we know how the Democrats always, protect criminals. Are they going to protect her and keep her from getting booted out of Congress?
Well, at the end of this post, it says even some Dems are done, resign or be removed. So I think that her support is eroding. Yeah. And she's going to be, bye, Felicia.
Yeah, good. There was another Felicia, and this one actually got to see the handcuffs. I don't know if you catch that story about the BLM fraudster.
Yes. Yeah. All the people, I still see some homes in my area that has, BLM matters and all that. I'm like, they might want to take that stuff down because it's all been a fraud.
250,000. I mean, it's nothing compared to the congressperson. She went large, 5 million. But this one, it's a lawyer. That makes it even worse. She's getting disbarred and she may go to jail for 250,000. They were all just getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. Yeah. Everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar. All right, I'll check back. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I had one other thing real quick. You were talking about like the media and stuff, that it's just the prostitutes is what I like to call them. I want to just read this real quick. Jaw-dropping study confirms the fake news is ignoring the illegal alien unaliving of young woman Sheridan Gorman. Here's the time spent covering her. NBC, 23 seconds. ABC, 1 minute, 19 seconds. CBS, 2 minutes, 1 second. And they go, is that what her life is worth? Enemy of the people. They truly are, Barry. Truly are enemies. It's horrible. I'll leave it with that.
I'm looking at something right now. It says the House Dems in Pennsylvania pull Women's History Month resolution. They don't want to honor women because the resolution defines what a woman is. So they're going to
make sense.
Blow out the whole month of Women's Month because we just can't really define what a woman is yet. Oh, gosh.
Unbelievable. All right. I'll see you in a few, Barry.
I'll be right back to you guys. Guys, we're going to start the show.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, I screwed up my timer all kinds of ways. I didn't reset it. But anyway, I told you I would have those texts. And Robin actually sent me 2 texts. The first one is about Beth. She says, this is from the buyer of the property that just bought the property we sold. Because Robin, I have to tell you, Beth has been incredible. This entire transaction, you have a wonderful person on your team. Yeah, I love that. Love hearing that. Real estate can be a really tough, nasty business. But when people meet Beth and they see her, it's very hard to be angry. It's very hard to be mean because she always meets people with a pleasant smile. And she's bilingual, so that helped down here in South Florida as well. But yeah, thank you very much, Beth. And SV, Robin just texted me. She goes, wow, SV is really getting comfortable, doing much better. Please tell him I said great job. And I'm impressed. Well, that makes me feel good. Our team is growing and getting better. And as soon as we can get Roaring Rage and Severo and on camera or something, we may expand that. But thank you guys for everything you do, including here on the show. All right, let's get going.
So tomorrow we'll be announcing a variety of actions that we're taking to support American farmers, who we never forget. We love the farmers. We gave them $12 billion out of tariff money. We had a tremendous amount of tariff money come in, and we continue to have. We've gone, as you know, the Supreme Court gave us a very unfortunate, foolish ruling, a ruling that gives the people that have ripped off our country for many years, gives them some money back. But it's one of those things. It's a terrible, terrible, horrible mistake they made, but it's okay because we have another method that's just as good. We'll use the other method. But because the tariff money has been so substantial, we gave our farmers who have been mistreated by some countries, we gave them $12 billion, and they're extremely happy, and they deserve it. They've been great. They never complain. They just go out and they farm, and they wouldn't do anything different. They wouldn't trade jobs with any of you, except maybe some of the fake media. I don't know. Somehow I don't see that. I like their job better, actually. I love the farmers, so we gave them $12 billion.
Let me just add to that, and thank you. We just had a wonderful cabinet meeting, all aligned on certainly the effort to realign the government. But even at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we've canceled a $300,000 contract educating on food justice for queer and transgender farmers in San Francisco.
Did you catch that? The Biden administration was giving all kinds of cash. This, in addition to all the other waste that you've heard, they were giving money. I don't know if they even let me say it. Queer farmers. Wouldn't it? I don't want to get in trouble. What the heck?
A similar contract we canceled in New York, again, educating transgender and queer farmers on food justice and food equality. I'm not even sure what that means, but
she ain't alone. A bunch of us. Well, you know, wow. If you've seen how some of these people are, so you're telling me, I can't even go there. I can't even go there without getting in trouble. I just want to know where the farms are. Were they just getting checks, or are there actually transformer farmers? I'd love to know. I'd like to know what their crops are. Is it tomatoes or tomatoes that don't know they're tomatoes? What in the hell are they farming? Where are the farms? Pete, please publish where the transformer queer farms are, so we know not to. Never mind. I was going to go into a fertilizer bit. I can't go there. I don't even know what the hell. She's right. What are they talking about? But if they're American farmers and they're doing good work, then I guess it's okay.
Apparently, the last administration wanted to put our taxpayer dollars towards that. We canceled a $600,000 contract out of Louisiana that was studying the menstrual cycles of transgender men.
I swear, the historians, if we live that long, or maybe we should make a capsule. Maybe, they say nothing goes away on the internet. There are going to be people who are going to be studying stuff and go, what the heck happened to these people? And I'm not kidding. That's maybe why we've survived as a species, because the aliens have come by and looked down at us and keep going. Go to the next rock. We can't handle this. These people crazy.
$1,000 contract. We canceled another contract out of a university in the middle of the country that focused on getting more diversity, equity, and inclusion into our pest management industry.
You remember the movie My Cousin Vinny? Yeah. And what's her name? Marissa Tomei, when she's talking about the deer, and go over get some water, and the little deer is just getting some water, and then bam, his head gets blown off. You think the deer cares? Well, when the rat is eating some rat poisoning, or the mosquitoes are getting zapped, you think they care that it's DEI based? Like the little vermins and stuff that are running around that you're trying to catch because they're eating your crops and stuff. Do you think they care whether or not there was some DEI person putting down the bait, the rat traps? No. Man, they were stealing from us. No, I put that in the past tense. I got to stop. They are stealing from us left and right.
And these are nonsensical. It makes zero sense to use taxpayer dollars to fund these. I know these are just a few examples of the hundreds and hundreds that we have found.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture tracking the latest on SNAP enrollment numbers. December data shows roughly 39.5 million participants. First time it's been under 40 million since September of 24. In Minnesota, one millionaire says he discovered a loophole which allowed him to qualify for food stamps. Millionaire. He described the process to Fox News Digital as fraud by design, saying he qualified for the program based on income, not assets, and with low retirement income, he was accepted. He ended up donating all of the money and the benefits to charity. Joining me right now is Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins. Secretary, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here this morning. That's quite the story in terms of this loophole allowing that millionaire to get SNAP benefits. How often does that happen?
Well, first of all, Maria, thanks so much. It's so great to be back on. And it was incredible news yesterday, a real testament, I think, to this president's leadership and vision that we have to protect the taxpayer. We have to ensure that every government program coming out of the federal government is doing what it is intended. And I think the consequence of the shutdown last fall was a bright light was shown on a very broken program, and that is the food stamp or SNAP program. And we talked about that quite a bit. The Minnesota case is just one of many examples. 500,000 people we have found in the last year that are taking benefits more than once. 200,000 dead people or people using dead people's social security numbers. Of course, we made a huge deal to move all illegal aliens off of SNAP last year. So since the president was sworn in, we've moved 3.3 million people off of food stamps into work and into a better life of dignity, et cetera. So
It is March 27th, 2026 as I make this show, which means your taxes are due in a little over 2 weeks. The money that you've earned and continue to work, or your investments or your capital gains, whatever it is that you do, you're going to have to pay up in about 2 weeks. And meanwhile, and I love me some President Trump, you guys know that, and I applaud President Trump for everything he's trying to do, but still, after pairing the roles, after getting the dead people off, after getting some of the newcomers off, we still have 39 million people getting free food stamps. 39 million. Let's put that in a little perspective, shall we? There are supposedly 300 million people in the country. Adults, babies, everybody in between, 300 million. If there are 39 million people getting food stamp benefits, it means that nearly 13% of the country, 13%, you walk in a room with, 50 people, and you can say 13% of these people are taking food stamps. To make easy math for you, if there's 100 people in a room, 13 of them are getting food stamps that you're paying for. That's absurd. When you're walking, you're seeing these videos about the lines at the airport, every 13th person is getting something for free. And that's just food stamps. That's just one of the things you're doling out. 13%. Remember that on April 15th when you're wiping tears away and cutting a check. If you're cutting a check. Because that's the other side of the coin, that, that percentage of people that don't pay anything is becoming quite large. Almost what they say, 35% of people don't pay anything. So it's a one-way distribution. We're giving you stuff and bus passes and internet and free phone and this and welfare and Medicaid, but nothing's coming back. That's insane. That is absolutely insane that that's what the Democrats want. They just want this to be a one-way distribution platform, just sending your money out. And if you think at this point you're retired, so, hey, it doesn't really affect me. Well, by the time you got retired, just think to yourself right now how many times you gave at the office. And now it's exploded. 39 million people. It's such a travesty that you have to applaud that there are only 39 million people right now with their hand out. You take a victory lap because you got it down to 39 million people taking money out of other people's pockets. I can't.
Good news. We're making progress. We have a lot more to do. Obviously, Minnesota, California, New York are ground zero for massive fraud, but we're working on it, and I think we're going to make great progress in the years to come.
That disturbed me. We'll make great progress in the years to come. So if in year one, you got it down to 39 million, what do you hope to get it down to? 30 million? And then, God forbid, the Democrats getting back in power, it's going to go right back up to 60 million. They're going to make sure that just everybody gets some. It's not mine, so I don't care. I'm just going to dole it out. There is so much to course correct in this country. There is so much that just this one man is trying to do. It just seems overwhelming at sometimes, doesn't it? Doesn't you just sit back? The other day I was talking about the Green Mile movie, and I'm like, boss, I'm tired, boss. And I think to myself, I can't imagine how he feels. If I'm just talking about it, imagine how he feels when you got judges, you got Democrats, you got world leaders, you got your own party, everybody fighting against what you're trying to do. I can't even imagine how small the circle of people are that really want to make America better. I don't even know what's going on online. I can't even tell you how these people are turning into complete idiots on a daily basis. And it's comical. It's like, look, there's another one that fell. Like, what the hell are you doing? How did you just decide that? Who said it today? Somebody said today, I just can't see myself voting for Republicans. Like, well, what are you going to do? You're throwing in the towel? Well, actually, I'm glad you say that. I wish more of them would tell us. I wish there'd be a whole lot more of these people online who say, I'm not going to vote for Republican. I'm just not going to vote. I'm going to stay home. Good. Good. Keep telling us so we can look the other way. So we can tell other people, turncoat, traitor, asshat, don't pay attention anymore. They just told you they'd rather take their winnings and go home and let you fend for yourself. Can't take that.
Today, AOC and Bernie Sanders will announce a bill to stop all construction of new AI data centers. Connor Hanson.
So we're talking about finally something completely progressive, initiatives that we've never seen before, things that can completely redesign manufacturing, that could really be a shot in the arm for America to really do better, to wow, we have an opportunity. And what do the Democrats say? Yeah, we can't have that. Well, what do you mean? If we can't control it, we can't let you have it.
Joining us from Capitol Hill, what's their reasoning on this, Connor?
Hi, Stuart. Well, they argue new builds need to be paused until, quote, national safeguards can be put in place. Now, this is one of the most aggressive measures we've seen so far, attempting to pause these new builds that many see as crucial to winning the artificial intelligence race. Now,
all right, so in one sentence, he could have ended his report right there. They're looking to pause those initiatives that can help us be world leaders. That's what he just said. AOC, Bernie, Democrats are trying to stop us from being world leaders in this new economy. That is sacrilege. That is completely, in my mind, treasonous. You're purposely, just like everything else they do, working to hurt the country. For what reason? Oh, because we can't control it. It's getting out of control here. Yeah, whatever.
as you mentioned, this legislation is being spearheaded by Senator Bernie Sanders and by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Sanders has warned for a while now that he thinks the AI boom is upending the labor market, displacing jobs, and that data centers are driving up electricity costs.
AI and robotics are going to be the most consequential transformation in the modern history of this world, to tell you the truth. And I'm not sure that we are prepared for it.
Who's we? Who's we, Einstein? You're not sure if the idiots that are Democrats may be prepared for it. Because the more prosperous people get, the more prosperous the country gets, the less they need government. Anything that takes away from government being your daddy is a problem to the Democrats. I've seen it, and many of you have seen it. You've seen it in our own chat. People are like, I'm afraid of robots. I'm afraid of AI. You're playing into their hands. That's like saying you're afraid to use the blender. You're afraid to use the microwave. Oh, how about this one? You're afraid to use this. Because you may not realize it, you may not accept it, but you've already been using AI. You just don't know. And by saying, I can't do with this AI stuff, or it's got the mark of the beast in it or something. How many marks of the beast do we have? Let's see. We have remotes. I remember we didn't used to have remotes for televisions. Oh, we have wireless televisions. Oh, nothing. There's no wires hanging down there anymore. Microwaves. Autonomous driving vehicles. Dishwashers. Oh, what are we going to do? We can't have these dishwashers put in kitchens, because if we put dishwashers in kitchens, soon enough, they're going to have them in restaurants. And then what's going to happen? There's going to be a whole lot of dishwashers out of work. Fax machines. Oh, we don't use fax machines. There's this thing called email. What about the people who work in the mailroom? Every advancement in technology, from the horse to the car, has disrupted business. Business finds a way to learn and prosper from it. Government just says we don't want it. These people would be happy riding around on horses in Washington. The entire aspect of where this economy is headed terrifies the Democrats because they've got an entire pool of people, except for the Somalis who know how to scam money, who don't know how to do anything. They can't even get IDs to vote. They don't even know where their birth certificates are. Oh my God, AI, what are we gonna do? Well, what if we use the AI to get them their birth certificates? We solve two birds with one stone. How about that?
But not all Democrats agree with a pause. Senator Mark Warner spoke about it along with tech leaders at yesterday's Hill and Valley Forum.
If that ends up setting up such barriers to build a data center anywhere, we will lose to China.
Americans have mixed opinions on data centers being built in their communities. The Trump administration, along with big tech, is trying to tamp down fears of rising costs with the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, which requires companies to cover all costs of extra electricity. Some of the biggest names in tech say it's crucial they work together with the government.
You know what's funny? Even the videos that they use as their it's called B-roll. B-roll is when you're putting a video of something while you're talking. Even the videos that they use as B-roll can't show you how crazy this is happening, what a data center actually looks like. They don't look like that. The mantra that they're using right now is that you won't be able to afford any, electricity because the data centers are going to suck it out. And then President Trump came up with the rate protection program. They don't even talk about that. They just act like it never was said. And then Chris Wright, who I interviewed in Washington, talked about the portable nuclear system. Oh my God, nuclear in my backyard. Come on, people. We can do this. We can definitely do this. And you can prosper. And your children are going to be able to prosper even more than you probably did in this life. You won't believe what's coming available to them.
Works with tech, it shouldn't ask how do we control this, rather how can we leverage this to help the country thrive? Because American democratic capitalism is not abstract.
And both Senator Sanders and Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez will be holding a press conference about this new legislation later this afternoon. Stuart.
All right, Connor, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to show you something now. President Trump, they've got the feed up, so I hope again like I can get this in. But this is really important. I talked to you guys about this a couple days ago, and it's a segment that Mike Rowe did with the same guy, Student Varney. And this is absolutely incredible. So right now, as you hear this, it's only like 4 or 5 minutes long. So hopefully we can get it up before he comes out. Nope, that's not going to happen. We're going to come back to it because here he comes already.
Donald J. Trump.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor to have you at this beautiful house. It's a beautiful house. There's no other house like it. I've seen them all, believe me, and this one is tops. But I'm thrilled to welcome all of you to the South Lawn for the single largest gathering of American farmers that the White House has ever seen, has ever had.
Oops, that's me.
And rain or shine, and you don't mind. It's a beautiful house. There's no other house like it. I've seen them all, believe me, and this one is tops. But I'm thrilled to welcome all of you to the South Lawn for the single largest gathering of American farmers that the White House has ever seen, has ever had. And rain or shine, and you don't mind rain, shine. The one thing about farmers, they don't care about that weather. They get out there, it makes no difference. But rain or shine, no one has more grit or greater spirit than the American farmer. We love the American farmer. I just gave you $12 billion. I don't know if you know that or not. You make enough money, it doesn't matter to you, right? But we just provided $12 billion, right, Brooke, for the American farmer. You think Biden would have done that? No, he wouldn't have done that. We're delighted to be joined by Secretary of Agriculture, who's doing a fantastic job, Brooke Rollins. Brooke, thank you very much. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert. Bobby. EPA Administrator is doing such an incredible job. He's getting those costs down for you, and he's always protecting the environment, but he does it quickly. A real superstar, Lee Zeldin. Thank you, Lee. Great job. And someone everyone loves, and they love in particular the job she's doing, Small Business Administrator Kelly Loeffler. Kelly, thank you very much. Thanks as well to John Hoeven, Joni Ertz, Pete Ricketts, along with the chairman of the House Agricultural Committee, G.T. Thompson, and I tell you, they're fantastic people, that they are warriors, and representatives Jim Baird, Randy Feenstra, Monica De La Cruz, Brad Finstad, Michelle Fishback, Mark Messmer, Victoria Spartz, Frank Lucas, Tracy Mann, Zach Nunn, Adrian Smith, and Derek Van Orden. They're all out here. They want your votes desperately, desperately. They're only here for your vote, you know that. But they're here because actually they did a great job. Those were people that were the most, I would say, the most aggressive for the farmer, which is what we want. Other than me, they were right in there. I was more aggressive than any of them. But also with us is the CEO of Tractor Supply, Hal Lawton, who will soon open the company's 2,500th store in honor of America's 250th. Hal, thank you very much. It was great to meet you at the Oval Office 2 minutes ago. I also want to thank the president of the American Farm Bureau Federation, Zippy Duval. I've known Zippy for a long time. Zippy's been with me right from the beginning, right, Zippy? From day one, he liked Trump. He said, well, I don't know, but I just had a good meeting with him. I'm gonna go with Trump, right? That was in 2015. And very special thanks to the proud young parents of two beloved American institutions, Future Farmers of America and 4-H. Two great things. For 4 disastrous years before I took office, sleepy Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress crushed America's farmers with the worst inflation in the history of our country. Prices were going through the roof. So bad, it was so bad what they had done to our country, and by the way, in so many other ways too, borders and everything else. But they crippled the American agriculture industry with brutal restrictions and failed to negotiate even a single new trade deal on your behalf. Not one trade deal was negotiated on your behalf during the Biden administration, and we happen to be the exact opposite. We have so many trade deals, we don't know what the hell to do with them. We need more lawyers. But now the American farmers, ranchers, growers, and producers once again have a true friend and champion in the Oval Office. And in my first year back in the White House, farm income has soared by 20% very quickly. I repealed the Biden EPA's ridiculous water restrictions. You had water restrictions that gave you everything but water. Yet it needed a little water. They wouldn't give you it. It was crazy. to keep federal bureaucrats off your land and out of your pockets. It's a big deal. With the help of Republicans in Congress, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history. Already 45% of filers have taken advantage of our new tax provisions, with an average refund so far of almost $5,000, a record. In fact, we passed them, and people are just starting to see how important they are. It's amazing what's happened. The numbers are, they're reporting that it's much more money than I thought. I tell you, I call it the great big beautiful bill. Is a great big beautiful bill, and it's especially in terms of your tax refunds and your taxes, because it's the lowest tax we pay. It's the biggest tax reduction in the history of our country. It's also the biggest regulation reduction in the history of our country, which, as farmers, you know what that means. It means a lot of good things. We made the small business tax deduction permanent, benefiting 98% of America's farmers and ranchers. And thanks to bonus depreciation, farmers can now deduct 100% of the cost of new tractors and all equipment in the first year. In other words, you buy a tractor, you deduct the whole price. Normally it goes over a 38-year period. This is slightly better. You got these tiny little deductions that weren't even worth it. Now you can do it at one time. Only Trump could have gotten you that one. That was a big thing. And in the first term, you know, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country in the first term. We are blowing them away right now. And by the way, we're doing really well in Iran, just so you understand. You know, I mean, how good is our military? How good is our military? Very importantly, we saved 2 million American farms from extinction by virtually ending the unfair estate tax. We've ended the estate tax, or as they call it, the death tax, and you can now keep your family farms in the family. We had a problem. See, these are all people that are clapping that love their children. If they didn't love their children, they wouldn't care about what I just said. But most of you, does anybody not love your child? Because that would be the one person that would have clapped the other way. No, it's a big thing. I would see farmers, and they pass away. They love their life. They love, there's something about a farmer, maybe more than anybody else. They love that, they love the soil, and they love their farms, and they'd pass away, and they'd have wonderful children, and the children would get hit with this massive tax bill for the value of the farm. Sometimes the farm is very valuable, but the cash isn't so readily available. And they'd go out to a bank and they'd borrow money, and they'd borrow and borrow and borrow to pay the tax. They'd be working for 20 years to pay it off. If they had a bad season, they'd lose their farm. We lost it many, many times. And you'd have actually many, many suicides over it. They would actually commit suicide because they couldn't stand the concept of losing their family farm. And I ended the death tax, or the estate tax, on family farms and small businesses. So I think you're appreciative of that. It was a terrible thing. It's too bad that so many people in the past couldn't have taken advantage of it, because it would have made a lot of happy people out of people that really have had a miserable life. When they lose their farm, they're never the same. They're never the same. And I hope our farmers never forget that every single Democrat in Congress voted against all of the provisions I just mentioned, including the estate tax. And Republicans, all of these Republicans have stood strong and fought hard and gotten it. But the Democrats voted against every single provision that I just mentioned, including the tax reductions and including, frankly, the estate tax. But we delivered. The Republicans delivered for the farmers, and it was not easy because the opposition to farmers by Democrats is very strong. Thanks to our trade deals, you're now sending over $40 billion in American soybeans to China. I want to thank President Xi of China, because we had a deal at 20, and I said, could you do me a favor? It's a big place. Could you double it? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, could you make it 40 instead of 20? And he overrode all of his people. He said, all right, I'll do it. And you got 40 instead of 20. So now you go out and buy bigger tractors. What can I tell you? Remember when that was announced, everybody was surprised. Everybody thought it was going to be 20. He was very good.
but the American soybeans are now being shipped to China in record amounts, and we expanded markets for American beef, dairy products, biofuels across Asia, Europe, South America, like we've never had before. Our farmers and agricultural producers do not want handouts. They really don't. The farmers come to my office a lot, and they just, sir, please just give us a level playing field. Others want more than that. They want everything. The farmers want a level playing field, and I talk about it all the time. That's all they want, because you were just the last 4 years before this one, before our great first year, we have records in so many categories, but during the past administration, you were treated really badly, and you were treated badly by the world because you had nobody that cared about defending you. But you want that fair shot and a level playing field, and I'm giving that to you, and I think I'm actually giving you much better than a level playing field. I'm giving you a field that goes like this. Makes it a lot easier for you, the things that we've done. And to further help farmers recovering from the Biden catastrophe, we use money taken from tariffs. The tariffs, we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars from the tariffs. And as I said, we gave you $12 billion in farm relief. And that happened just recently because you were hurt by certain countries unfairly. And I said you were unfairly hurt, and we gave you $12 billion, and that made up for it. I'm also asking Congress to quickly pass the new farm bill, and today I'm promising to request additional farm relief for our great patriots in the next funding bill. So we have you taken care of in both instances, and we're pushing very hard for the new farm bill. The Democrats fight us. I don't know the Democrats fight us on farm bills, and they always have. They are not your natural politician. Any farmer that votes for a Democrat is crazy. They are brutal on the farmers. One of the Americans benefiting from our policies and new market access is Joel Vyrek, a fourth-generation farmer from Woolwich Township, New Jersey. Joel, he really has a great story to tell. Please, Joel, come up and tell that story.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to speak today and for having this event and inviting us all here. I'm a vegetable farmer from Woolwich Township, New Jersey. We farm a few hundred acres where we specialize in Jersey fresh tomatoes. I do that along with my family. Also, I guess most importantly today, as you spoke about the farm bill, I just urge Congress to pass the farm bill. It's vital to everything that we do. Everything from financing to crop insurance, and it's vital to the USDA and the farm credit system. Also, we appreciate the bridge payments, your policy on trade, everything. It's going to help strengthen what we do. So I just want to thank you again for just everything you're doing to make America great again.
You know, while I'm up here, I'm looking around. I love construction. You see all those nice Caterpillars and John Deeres. We have a lot of John Deeres. That's a big dig. And we're building a ballroom for 150 years. They've wanted, every president said, could we have a ballroom, please? A room where you could have a lot of people. So when the president of China, France, when somebody comes over from the UK, including the king, we have the king coming over very shortly, and King Charles. So we can have like a large room, because the White House is incredible, but it was never had a ballroom. And we're building, that'll be the finest ballroom anywhere in the world when it's completed. And I'm just looking at the construction. In fact, if you don't mind, I'll walk over there and look for a little while. Then I'll come back and I'll continue to speak. I love construction. I love building beautiful things. But you're going to have something very, really tremendously. And thank you, Joel. And every day we're looking for new ways to support our farmers, reduce your costs, and to help lower the price of food for the American family. Last month, we issued a major new rule declaring that farmers have a right to repair your own equipment. Can you believe that one? And that action will save the typical farmer up to $30,000 on major repairs. I mean, I heard about this. I said, you got to be kidding. You don't have the right to fix. These guys can fix anything, but you didn't have the right to fix your own equipment. We ended that rather quickly, and now you do. And I did another thing, and I'll explain it in a second, because we had a ridiculous Washington restriction called the so-called diesel exhaust fluid requirement. Do you know about that? It was a basic disaster. Today, we're announcing new guidelines drastically limiting these ridiculous DEF rules, saving farmers and consumers billions and billions of dollars. And when I was in Iowa recently, I met a man who was the chairman of John Deere, great company. And I asked him, I said, could I ask you a question? We cut a lot of the restrictions, almost all of them, on cars. What have we done for tractors and trucks and different things that you use on the farms? He said, sir, they never got to us. They never did that. I said, well, we're going to have to, that was about 2 months ago. We've worked very hard, and Lee is working on that. It's a top priority. I told him, Lee Zeldin, a top priority. So when you buy a tractor today, you spend 50% of your time fixing the environmental impact statement garbage that's on the tractor. In fact, I buy a lot of things that having to do with farm equipment, where I own clubs and other things. And I said, give me 10-year-old equipment. Do you have any 10-year-old equipment that hasn't been used yet? And whenever they had it, I would buy it, because it was much better than the new stuff, which has so much environmental nonsense on it that it ends up costing thousands of dollars more to produce, and it doesn't work well. Too complicated. And then you'll get somebody that is a farm worker, and he's looking at heavy computerized environmental equipment, and you have where the tractor will turn off if the environmental equipment isn't working. It was an automatic turn off. It did absolutely nothing for the environment. It cost you $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a machine. And to save fuel, many of you are working over massive deposits of fuel. To save a quarter of a glass of fuel, this much, just a little bit, they'll have 2 extra computers in it that never worked. And I said to the head of John Deere, is this a good thing or a bad thing? He said, sir, you have no idea how bad it is. It's made our tractors so complicated. You need a major degree from MIT in order to turn on a tractor. We want to go back to the old way, sir. And I said, I agree with you 100%. And we are working very hard and very quickly to get rid of the horrible chains placed on tractor suppliers. That's a beautiful tractor. That's a gold tractor. Somebody had me in mind. What's that all about? That's a hell of a tractor. I'm looking at this. That's a good one, too, red, white, and blue. But somebody really hit me with that one. That's beautiful. Well, but so we are going to be, Lee, I think we can say, I know you're in the process, cutting out massive amounts of nonsense that are mandated to be put on your tractors and all of your trucks that costs you a fortune. And I know that they're going to do this, and I asked him, you got to promise me one thing. You're not going to take it in profits. You're going to lower the cost of a tractor. I want you to lower the cost, and if they don't lower the cost, you'll let me know, and I'll have to do a big number in those companies, okay? Because they're going to be able to very shortly produce a bigger, better tractor at substantially less money. It's going to be better. It's going to be a better tractor at substantially less money. It's going to be more reliable. It's not going to be turning off every 15 seconds because a computer went haywire that you don't need. You're going to have a better tractor for less money, but I want John Deere and Case and all of their great companies, Caterpillar. I want all of them. Got a lot of Caterpillars in there all over the place. I look forward to seeing them later. But I want these companies to give it to you in the form of lower tractor and equipment costs. And I think it's going to have a huge impact. And Lee, when you do this, I really want you to mandate to the companies to sell the equipment cheaper, not to get the same price and make a spread of, could be $6,000 or $7,000 a machine. So we'll work on that together, okay? Thank you very much, everybody. I think it's going to be a great thing. We're working on it very hard. So Americans love our farmers, and to make it easier for consumers to choose products raised by ranchers like Michael. We recently announced a brand new food label. It's product of the USA. I love that. Product of. We have another one called Made in the USA. That's better for a car. I like U.S. product for the USA. I hadn't heard that, but it's good. They want the USA product. When Americans see those words in grocery stores, they'll know that it was raised, harvested, and processed by the greatest farmers and ranchers anywhere on the face of the earth. You are the greatest. Nobody even close. Just like we have the greatest military, we have the greatest, most powerful military in the world by far. We have the greatest farmers also. Thanks. And thanks to your hard work and incredible productivity, we're slashing the prices of key staples for American families. The cost of cheese, butter, potatoes, and fruit, many, many other products is lower today than when I took office. Eggs are down, as an example, 60% from when I took office. And we have others coming down, and beef is starting to come down. Beef was an amazing thing. I was told by Brooke, I said, I don't really believe it. They wanted to have less cattle in the country for environmental reasons. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what that means? Can you believe it? Who would think of this? These are sick people. No, they want less cattle for environmental reasons. It has something to do with gas permeating throughout the air. And we actually, and that's what happened. And these, the number of cattle was way down. I said, what happened? They were mandated, they were restricted for that reason. These people are crazy. But anyway, we got rid of that one too. That was an easy one. If I said this 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, people wouldn't even believe what I'm saying. It's like men playing in women's sports. Would you believe we have an argument over that? Men playing in women's sports. Did you ever see the weightlifting record? It stood for 19 years. Women, great women athletes, they get up there. And then a man came along who happened to transition, and the record was broken by 119 pounds. And he was a bad weightlifter. It's true. He was a failed male weightlifter. He shattered the record. I would say that's not good. So we're bringing all that back to normalcy too. And look what happened at the Olympics. The Olympic Committee, the heads of the Olympics just announced there will be no men playing in women's sports. Who else could have done that? You think that was easy? That wasn't easy. That was not easy. It's probably, they say it's an 80-20. No, I think it's a 99-1 issue, and nobody can find the one. To help lower gasoline prices for farmers and consumers, this week I issued an emergency order to allow immediate sales of E15 and just as I promised in the campaign, I'm seeking congressional action to allow E15 all year round, okay? And I'm trusting Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune, they're two good men. I'm trusting them to find a deal that works for farmers, consumers, and refiners, including small and mid-sized refiners. And they're going to send me a bill, and we should be able to get that done. We've worked with the refiners before, and we're going to get that done. Today, I'm also announcing a dramatic update to the renewable fuel standards for 2026 and 2027. A big problem. What they've done to you is, and the country, what they've done to the country is just incredible. The environmentalists, I mean, they are terrorists. They were terrorists. I call them the environmental terrorists, and will now be requiring the highest volumes of renewable fuels in history. These new standards will generate over $10 billion of rural economic benefit, create an estimated 100,000 new jobs, and massively increase our nation's energy supply. It'll come right out of the farms. In addition, to help bring down grocery costs even more, today I'm pleased to announce that the Small Business Administration, that's Kelly, is opening up massive new loan guarantees for farmers and food suppliers, including vegetable farmers, grain farmers, and seed farmers, cattle, pig, and poultry producers, grocery wholesalers, and many more. So if you're in the industry, Kelly, you better get ready. You're going to be inundated, right? It's the first time that's happened. And you know, when they say she's the head of small business, when you add it all up, it's got to be the biggest, it's like the biggest bank in the world or something. It's nothing small about it. But you'll do a job, Kelly, right? Help them out, right? From Texas to Kansas, from Iowa to Idaho, and from Minnesota. Did I hear Minnesota? How is Minnesota doing? What's going on? What's going on in Minnesota with that crazy governor, that crooked, corrupt governor? How about the Attorney General? Do you think he's a dirty cop? You think he's a dirty cop? All right, we'll get Minnesota back. We'll take it back from Somalia. Now, do you believe these people come from Somalia? They have nothing. It's not. They come. Somalia is considered the worst country. It's not even a country, like the worst country in the world. The worst. They come over here, and they steal $19 billion. We'll get it straightened out. It's happening. Our vice president is in charge of a new division. It's called the Fraud Division. You know, if we straighten out half the fraud that took place in this country over the years, we'd have not only a balanced budget, we'd have a big surplus. So we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. But from Minnesota to Mississippi, we're lifting up our hardworking farmers and ranchers and growers, and we're putting more money in American pockets. We're going to prove that the golden age of American agriculture is right here and right now. And I want to ask, just if you would you come up and say something? Because I'll tell you what, come on over here. This is a great farmer. Would you just tell your quick story, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Michael Cliver, and I operate my family's ranch in Westfield, Pennsylvania, Doble Circle D Farms. And the work that you guys have done, it's unexplainable how big it is for the American farmer and the next generation that don't have the headache and don't have to worry about the death tax. It's astounding what you guys have done. It's absolutely spectacular. And also the working family tax cut policies, that allowed us to get my daughter a Trump account, and we can teach her fiscal responsibility, compound interest, and investment, and plan for her future. And it's just absolutely astounding what you've done with that. Also, your energy policies. Up in Potter and Tioga County, Pennsylvania, the gas companies are leasing mineral rights again actively, and that's putting money back into the farmers' pockets up there too. So for all that, I applaud you and thank you, Mr. President.
I'm glad I called him up. I didn't know who the hell he was. He's standing up. You know, he's standing. We went through one, and I said, there's another guy, but they don't have anything about. But you did it. It's an extremely good job you did, huh? Wow. Thank you very much. I do want to say, do you mind if I step over here and just look at that tractor for a second? Because I assume it's a gift to me. That's crazy.
It's beautiful.
Oh, that is really something. Well, thank you very much for the gift. I appreciate it. Oh, boy, can you imagine if I accepted that gift, what they would do? A Democrat can accept. We're not allowed to accept. No, but that's a beautiful machine. We make the greatest machines. That's a beautiful, beautiful machine. I'd like to ask a very special woman to step up. You know, Brooke, I always said, could run any company in the world. She could run these big companies. She's a great executive. And we've talked about it. My wife's actually said, you know, Brooke could be an executive anywhere. That doesn't mean you're leaving, okay? No. But when I had a chance, I said, what about Department of Agriculture? I had no idea that she has like a PhD in agriculture. She went to school on agriculture. I would have put her there even if she didn't. But she's so highly trained, and she loves it, and she loves the farmers just like I do, and ranchers and everybody else having to do with this very special world that you live in. And Brooke has really been a star, and I want to thank you very much and say a few words.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Sir, the first thing I want to say is when we had that unexpected conversation about this job, November 21st of 2024. I've often said that sometimes you have plans for yourself, but then God and Donald Trump redirect your plan. 1 year in, I can't tell you the honor, the joy, the blessing of getting to fight every day. There is no better job than this. Even President, I believe, there is no better job than being your 33rd Secretary of Agriculture. And Mr. President, thank you for your trust. It's just incredible. Not in our lifetime. The President and I on our walk over here, we're talking about how the farmers, the ranchers, rural America, we are your people, sir. From the moment he came down the golden escalator to today, no one has stood more proudly, more strongly, more courageously for this man, this transformational president at this moment in our country's history than you all, our farmers and ranchers. I want everyone to get to their feet and just thank him for what he has done for our community, for our farmers and ranchers. He's the best, the best. Never cry in trouble, but yeah, so grateful. So grateful. A couple of other really special people. I know we have some friends in from Pennsylvania. We have some amazing Amish farmers. And I started thinking, I maybe shouldn't do this because I don't think they like the recognition, but they drove all the way here. If they're willing to stand up, let us thank you for making such an effort and your wonderful support for our president. I was told that even a new dress was made for this event, and I know this is out of the box a little bit for you and your amazing community, but I know on behalf of our Pennsylvanians and others, we're so grateful for you and your leadership. I also want to do a big shout out to Senator Hoeven, Senator Ernst, our congressman, Senator Ricketts, who fought so hard to get rural America in the one big, beautiful bill. You all deserve so much credit. It was the largest investment in rural America for our farmers and ranchers in American history. This man drove it, but you guys executed, and we're so grateful to you. So thank you. Thank you. Also, very quickly, my mom is on the front row. State legislator Helen Kerwin, thanks to Donald Trump, is doing remarkable work for us in Texas. My beautiful sister. We talked about, Mr. President, the future of farming with a faith born not of words but of deeds. You have the FFAers and the 4-Hers here. We're so glad you are our future, and we are so grateful. Thank you. And speaking of the FFA, sir, my ag teacher from 35 years ago came all the way from Glen Rose, Texas. Mr. Rosenbush, stand up. I love you. There were a few times he put me in the back of the bus for being too sassy. And we've come a long way, Mr. Rosenbush. God bless you and thank you for everything you mean. Listen, everyone, the president did it so well. What we inherited when we came in just over a year ago, we left with an agricultural trade surplus when we walked out of here in January of 2021. We came back with an agricultural trade deficit of $50 billion. Not one new trade deal under the Biden administration. When we left, the cost of inputs were 40% less for our farmers and ranchers than when we came back 4 years later. We inherited a mess, but this president understands that there is no more American of the Americans than our farmers and ranchers and the pioneering spirit that you all represent. And today on the South Lawn of the White House, to have the largest gathering of farmers in American history at this White House is historical. It will go down in the record books. I believe this president will be remembered as the president and our administration with Bobby, with Lee, and with Kelly, who are all here, my best friends from the cabinet, across the cabinet, as the moment in American history where we reversed the trend, where we stopped losing family farms, where we fought for rural America because it is the very, very best of who we are. And that began with this president, with his leadership, and we just couldn't be more grateful. God bless you, Donald Trump. God bless America, and God bless our farmers and ranchers. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
So the Farm Bill is going to happen. It's all going to happen. And I just want to thank you all for being here. You're very, very special people. I'll never forget, we won like such a number, like nobody's ever won before. You voted for me. I will never forget that. I'll never forget the friendship, the great friendship that we've had. And we've got a lot more to do, Brooke, and we're going to do it, and we're going to get it done very fast, very, very, very fast. And thank you all for being at the White House. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you, everybody.
You know, every time we hear him talk, it's different than what you hear on the media. The media is full of crap. The media hates America. And, you know, this throng of farmers, a gold tractor. They're so happy. They're making so much money. The other guys, like I set up this, my kids with these wealth accounts. And I'm like, what is wrong with Democrats? How is it that we can't have nice things, that they just want us to be, you know, completely beholden to government? Man, that was awesome seeing that. And I could have watched, he probably could have stayed out there for another hour, but he can't. And I'll tell you why he can't stay there for another hour. So today, Friday, I only usually do one show. Well, today's different. Today, we're going to have a second show. The second show is going to be around 5 o'clock, because the reason why he had to seemingly cut that short is now he's going to have to fly all the way down here to Miami. Tough being him. And he's got a speech tonight at like 5:30 with the financial investment symposium or whatever it is. So we have another speech in front of a bunch of executives down here in Miami. And then, of course, after he's done, he'll head up to Mar-a-Lago. So I just wanted to let you know we do have a second show coming. I want to listen to what this woman says here. Let's listen in.
Our farmers and ranchers, we are very concerned with gas and diesel prices going into the harvest season for most of America. So we believe that the war on Iran has affected us going into 2026. We do need to decrease those prices so we can, you know, be financially stable for our farms and ranches for our future.
Well, Stephanie, you know, I love the shot behind you. It's not often we get to have cows on the screen, and I don't know what else do you have behind you there. It's a beautiful setting, and we do want our America's farmers to thrive, and we know how much it takes. We know how much goes into those animals behind you, and we know how, you know, the operating costs of a farm are extremely high. So the president earlier said this about farm incomes. This was the news he made just a few moments ago at the White House.
And in my first year back in the White House, farm income has soared by 20% very quickly. I repealed the Biden EPA's ridiculous water restrictions. You had water restrictions that gave you everything but water. Yet it needed a little water. They wouldn't give you it. It was crazy. To keep federal bureaucrats off your land and out of your pockets.
Stephanie, he also made it a priority of his, in his words at the White House a few moments ago, to talk about leveling the playing field for America's farmers. Watch.
All right, so they're just going to rehash the same speech, which you already just saw. So we're not going to have to do that. They'll talk about it for the next 4 hours. So in any event, President Trump, looking at his schedule, he's probably not going to make it. He's supposed to leave Washington at 1:45. So leaving 1:45, and normally what that means when he leaves at 1:45 or whenever he leaves, it's possible that he stops at the airport, says hello to some people, and maybe talks to the press. We'll still be here because I got some more stuff to show you. But first, let me tell you about the second half of our show sponsor, second half, because we got a lot more to go through. If you're like me or most people my age, and you're getting to that age where you feel tired a lot, you feel bloated after every meal, and no amount of water seems to help, then listen up. I drink a lot of water because Robin stands over me with, whips to make sure I continually drink water. Recently when people who deal with all of this and have a problem, there's a guy called Dr. Josh that you can listen to for help. I wanted to find out personally, this whole water thing, does it make sense? I told him what was going on, and his response kind of shocked me. He said that I was showing all the telltale signs of dehydrated liver. I was getting cramps in my hamstrings, cramps in my calves and stuff like that. And of course, the answer is drink more water. Even though it's hard, you got to keep drinking more water. He told me what was actually part of the problem. You see, most people think hydration is just about drinking water. But what Dr. Josh explained is your liver is your body's main hydration organ. And if your liver cells aren't getting water at the cellular level, it doesn't matter how many glasses of water you drink during the day. The water just runs right through you. And if your liver is dehydrated, then everything suffers. Your energy tanks, your digestion slows, you bloat, you hold on to stubborn weight even though you're dieting. Your skin looks dull and you feel older, sometimes decades older than you really are. Plain water can't fix this on its own, and most electrolyte drinks are just sugar and salt that completely ignore your liver. Or actually could be bad for your liver. That's why Dr. Josh, a practicing doctor with over 25 years of medical expertise, created a daily hydration drink called LTV. It's not just another electrolyte powder. LTV combines clinical dose marine electrolytes with taurine to help your cells actually hold on to the water, plus milk thistle and dandelion root. You can get those at the health food store, but this comes with it all together. And it supports your liver's natural detox function. He told me that LTV has already helped thousands of people and has received incredible reviews from customers who notice results fast. When you hydrate, you will notice results pretty quickly. I mean, it's almost instantaneous. You start feeling the cramps go away and things of that nature. So, of course, I got some sent to me, and I got it off his website. And for the last few weeks, and actually it's been at this point a couple months, I've been drinking LTV every morning along with my protein drinks. And I'm happy to report that I've been able to say goodbye to any bloating, the afternoon crashes, and that dried out foggy feeling, and say hello to real energy, smoother digestion, and a body that actually feels hydrated for the first time in years. This stuff is powerful. You're going to have to go to the bathroom a lot, but it's worth it. I was amazed at how much better I felt, and in such a short period of time. But again, you're not going to get the results like this from regular electrolyte drinks like Gatorade. You can't do it, or just by drinking regular water. Dr. Josh put his 25 plus years of experience into LTV to make sure it actually delivers real cellular hydration, not just expensive pee. So if you're ready to hydrate your liver at the cellular level and finally feel a difference in your energy, your digestion, and your waistline, and your mood, just go to drinkltv.com/Barry to get your hands on LTV today. By the way, it's your lucky day because I saw that Dr. Josh is running a special offer where you can get 64% off of LTV for a limited time. But this deal is only available through the link in the description. As you can see, drinkltv.com/Barry. The link is right below the video in the description box. Do yourself a favor and click on it and give your liver the hydration it's been missing for quite some time. All right, I'll be back in 90 seconds.
to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So they tell us it's Friday, and Fridays are supposed to be slow news days, but anything but when President Trump is in office. So I was getting ready to go to the rest of my show, but I'm going to have to put a pause on that because Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, is getting ready to come up. I told you I wasn't going to talk about the debacle that the Republicans did last night in the Senate, but it seems as Mike Johnson is going to be holding a presser any minute now. It's imminent. And at this point, it doesn't seem like what the Senate did last night is going to pass. It says the headline is Mike Johnson wants to pass a DHS funding bill that isn't the same as what the Senate did. So just to give you the procedural aspect of things, the Senate went and rushed through something last night in the cloak of darkness. I think there was like 5 people in the Senate. They rushed it through, got it passed, and took off and got out of town. Literally got out of town. And so now Mike Johnson's like, not so fast, my friends. Because now that you changed it, you didn't pass what the House originally passed. You passed your own bill, and now it's got to go back to the House for approval. And he's not going to bring it to the House unless it modifies again. So it's not a done deal. I'm pretty sure President Trump's deal about the executive order that he made about getting these people paid is probably going to have to go into effect. I didn't see him rescind it. So yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order and told Mark Wayne Mullen to pay TSA. The Senate ran and tried to do an end around and do something really quick and get out of town. Well, now Mike Johnson may not be doing it. So as soon as he comes up, because I know what'll happen if I start with this piece, he's going to come up and I'll have to stop it. So let me just check with SB to see if he's got anything. But imminently he shall be walking out, because I see the podium is up. Here, let me show you guys so you know what I'm talking about. I like to keep you guys informed, but this is what I'm looking at right now. So they've got the microphone all set up. Reporters are gathered around, and very soon, Mike Johnson, I don't know if he's going to come out with Lisa McClain or if it's just going to be himself, but as soon as he comes out to talk about the bill that Senate passed last night, we will definitely get to it. I see people taking pictures and stuff, so we'll come back to it. SB, in the interim, you got anything?
Oh, I always have something. Here's something interesting. NASA, checking in with them. I can't believe they're doing something, but I don't know if you heard, in just a few days, we'll be sending some humans on a flight around the moon.
But that's the Artemis, right?
Yes.
I did not know it was manned. I thought it was just an unmanned spaceship. So we're actually sending people up.
Yep, they're going to take a couple laps around and come back. So we're back in space. That's pretty cool. I
got to show that. I think it's going to be live. I wasn't going to. Well, it depends on with the kids coming down this weekend if I'll be around. But if I can, okay. When is it? What day is that going to be?
2 days from now. So what is that?
Sunday?
I believe. I'll let you know. I'll keep tracking it and let you know the time.
Yeah, because
I'm following NASA on their X account. So I'll let you know.
Are they planning on a day shoot or night shoot?
Let's see here. I'm looking at their website now. Moonbound for All Humanity. It's got a bunch of stuff on it. Looks like there's 4 astronauts that are going, 3 men and 1 woman. So it's pretty cool. I don't know who they are, but I'm going to definitely look into it more. And I love I love space stuff. I'm a Star Trek fan. I don't know if anybody's a Star Trek fan, but I love it all. It's really interesting.
Did you go see the movie? Robin loved it. What's it called? Project Hail Mary. I mean, it was really
because of your review. I'm definitely going to see it.
Really
maybe
good.
This weekend. I'll probably do it on the day off, Sunday or something. But it sounds like it's pretty good.
I'm going to see if the kids want to see it because I just love it. It was a great movie, and it's about space travel. So I don't know how long Mike Johnson is going to be. So I'm going to roll with what I have and see what happens, because they're all standing around, and I just don't want to dead air. It's okay. So
sure. Check in whenever you want. I'll have something for you.
All right. So I told you guys last week that, this whole thing with the data centers and everything that's going on with AI and how, the prosperity is within Americans' reach. And it's not the prosperity most people think. It's not about lawyers. It's not about doctors. It's not about anybody in a high engineering profession. This is a gold rush for people who just are going to do normal things: HVAC, carpentry, electric. And when Mike wrote, I heard this, I was driving and I heard it, and I'm like, I gotta let people see this. This is absolutely phenomenal. And when you hear the numbers, I mean, the sheer amount of revenue these people are making, you're gonna have to pick your jaw up off the table. It's phenomenal because we've never seen this before in regular construction and any kind of the trades. And this is what's happening. So let's take a listen to this.
Going to college to ensure a high-paying job might be an outdated idea. Mike Rowe joins me now. He's the dirty jobs guy. Right, Mike, you've met with data center electricians in Texas. They're under 30 and they're making $200,000 a year. They don't have any college debt. Why do you think that some schools dismiss skilled trades as kind of a consolation prize? Why do they do that?
Now, this is really cool. Stuart Varney is very adept. He knows money. He's been on business shows. I think he was even on CNN. And he's like, I've heard these people are making up to $200,000, which if we stopped right there is making some people's head spins, I'm pretty sure. 200 grand? Not going to college? How could that possibly be? Not going and paying some school $100,000 with a year with a loan you can't afford? And you're telling me people who don't have to go to college are making $200,000? Not so fast, my friend.
Two things. The electricians that I met most recently at a data center in Plano were making $260,000 a year.
Right now, there's a lot of baristas at Starbucks who are like, oh my God, bad career move, bad career move with my socio-economic diversity degree, and I make $12 an hour pouring coffee. And you got people who have no degrees who are making $260,000 a year working at data centers. No wonder AOC and Bernie want to shut them down. Is there any doubt now that you've heard that? It's like, oh, that makes sense. We don't want people without college IDs being the new rich people. We can't possibly have that. We need to scam them out of $100,000 a year at a college. $260,000 a year as an electrician with no college education.
It's true they had no debt, but the most consequential component of that meeting was the fact that all three of them had been poached 3 times in the prior 18 months. That's what's going on in certain parts of the country in the electric game right now. It's like the draft in the major leagues. For the second part of your question, I'll tell you this. 16 years ago this month, I was in D.C. I testified before both houses of Congress about the need for some kind of national effort to reinvigorate the trades. That was the first time I said those words out loud, along with the phrase, we have to stop categorizing an entire chunk of our workforce as people who have won some vocational consolation prize. Because that's...
Love that. I remember when I was in high school, and it wasn't a question whether you were going to go to college. It was what school are you going to? When people signed your yearbook, good luck at whatever school. It wasn't an option that you'd go into. You're going to go into a vocational. You're going to go and be a plumber or HVAC. What's wrong? Your grade's not good enough. Parents can't afford college. Can't get any financial aid. You're going to be a electrician. And now what's happening You've seen the memes. You've seen it. The one where the guy's dancing is the people in high school. The people in college who made fun of you are pouring coffee, and you're making 260 grand a year. 260 grand a year. For those of you who might be math challenged, that's in excess of $5,000 a week. These people are going to be living in mansions and swimming pools, and they didn't go to college. And meanwhile, the college kid is sitting over at Starbucks pouring you some, latte double latte or something.
What we did when we put our thumb on the scale for one form of education, right? A university 4-year degree. When we said that that was the best path for the most people, we implicitly suggested that anyone with the temerity to embark upon a different path was indeed the proud owner of something second class. That's when the wheels started to come off the bus. I can't believe it's been 16 years, but the chickens have come home to roost for sure.
Yeah, sure.
And so this is why Bernie, AOC, and the Democrats don't want that. They're the ones who have been pushing people that, get in student loan forgiveness, just keep paying the schools, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You deserve to have a college education, spend 100 grand a year, come out, pour coffee, and then you can't get a job. Don't worry about it. We'll give you free health care. We'll give you free child care. Have as many babies from as many daddies as you want. Here's your SNAP benefits, and you're stuck on a hamster wheel. Meanwhile, Mike Rowe has been trying to direct these kids into learn a trade. Number one, it's never going away. If you learn how to lay bricks, you're going to be a great bricklayer. If you know how to hammer a nail and put things together, you're going to get paid well as a carpenter. If you're an electrician, guess what? You're going to make a lot of money. But instead, the Democrats want to stop this. Let that sink in. Here's a way for the average person, if you want to put that label on somebody because they didn't go to college, the average Joe can now be the elite Joe. I would think the Democrats would be applauding this. I would think that even the colleges would be saying, this is fantastic. No, you don't have to be an electrical engineer. You don't have to understand calculus. You can go to a trade school and learn how to fix electric stuff. You can learn how to hammer a nail and build stuff and look at blueprints, and you can make 260 grand a year or 200. Why wouldn't they want this prosperity for much of America? And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the Democrats trying their best to stop this advancement. You just heard from Bernie. I think we got to pause everything until we can take control of this and see what it's what it's going to be doing. I'll tell you what it's going to be doing. It's going to be advancing America, putting us in competition with other countries for AI, and all the while making some young people a lot of damn money.
NVIDIA's chief, Jensen Huang, he urges blue-collar workers to embrace AI. He says it can elevate those jobs and even revolutionize industries like farming and carpentry. In what way can blue-collar workers actually use AI?
I would say, and by the way, all the typical disclaimers, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm worried about unintended consequences and so forth and so on. But honestly, Stuart, you could ask the same question and say, what's the upside for a blue collar worker to embracing the internet or the calculator or any other piece of transformational tech that's come along that was initially scary, kind of weird, but ultimately ubiquitous? This is where we are. All
right. So when he's talking about that, that ubiquity is something that I have loved that word forever. Ubiquity. So, and when you're disrupting something, you're hoping that you're on the front end of the highway to ubiquity, where all of a sudden nobody was using email and AOL came out. I remember when I got to college, somebody asked me if I wanted to be a cable television salesman. I'm like, hell no. I'm not being a cable television salesman. I don't even know what the hell cable television is. And now we went from starting cable television to complete ubiquity to now antiquity in just the span of when I've been alive and you've been alive. None of us knew what cable TV was. Then every single one of us, ubiquity hit, and we all had cable TV. And now it's like, I'm unplugging, and I got this thing called streaming. And that what we've seen in our world, our economy, is that progress has been shortened. There have been more televisions made since there in that short period of time since there was radio. If you go back and look at when radio came out, and radio came out way back, I think in the 30s or the 40s, and then television completely exploded. And now television, instead of being this giant thing on your table, they're about this thin and they hang on walls and everything else. That's what's happening. And so this ubiquity that he speaks of is very fluid, very fluid.
I agree with Bernie Sanders on this one. I think we're on the cusp of a revolution unlike anything we've ever seen. And I know that Jensen Huang and his partner, his co-founder, John, and the guys at BlackRock, right, they're all talking about a $10 trillion new infrastructure build out.
10 trillion. All right, so those of you we talk about skate where the puck is, you now hear a projection in a short period of time from not even existing. I mean, we've watched Grok and ChatGPT and OpenAI go from infancy to basically almost ubiquity. Not quite there yet. To now we're talking about a $10 trillion investment that still hasn't been realized. So you can now see where the puck is going. I love that. Absolutely love that.
That's what energy and data centers and connectivity entail. And while it will be disruptive for engineers and coders and a lot of other people who have made their direct living doing what they do, this new era is going to be a renaissance for electricians, steam fitters, pipe fitters, welders, CNC operators. I know I'm a broken record, but not a week goes by that I don't hear from the leader of some consequential industry who's having a freak out over recruiting, whether it's Jim Farley at Ford or the Pentagon over the people who are supposed to be building our nuclear powered subs. It's real. It's happening. If I had an alarm bell here on my desk, I'd probably ring it.
So I'm ringing it. I am ringing it as loud as possible. I got to take a break for a second because the boss just ended up at Air Force One. That's how fast he got over there. Hold on.
The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, as I mentioned, who is about to speak, has indicated and pressed that Republicans are acting in good faith, that they're negotiating in good faith. He has said that it's Democrats who have moved the goalpost. I imagine, Ari, that's a taste of what we are again about to hear from Speaker Johnson.
Well, and I think that's accurate. They have moved the goalposts, but it doesn't matter where you move the goalpost to, TSA is not getting paid, and it's not their fault. And that's where the Senate reached that breakthrough yesterday that I would encourage the House to pass what the Senate passed. We've reached beyond the point of negotiations. We've reached beyond the point of purity tests. It's gone on too long, too far. Too many people are getting hurt, and the traveling public in the millions is getting impacted. I understand pushing for your position, fighting to get a win. But at some point, you've got...
Okay, so he didn't take any questions, obviously, as you saw, getting on a plane, heading down here to South Florida. He may take some questions on the plane, and if he does, I'll have that for you at the 5 o'clock show. But let's get back to Mike Rowe and what he's saying. And I really want to make sure you guys grasp this. Not that you're stupid, but how important it is. And how we are in the infancy of AI. People are just messing around with it. It's growing. I mean, if you're on X, you see how many times Elon Musk says, "Hey, we're updating Grok to 2.2, 2.4, 3.5." It just keeps growing. This stuff doesn't stay still. And now, as Mike is saying, he has talked to CEOs who are projecting that this is going to be a $10 trillion vertical in our economy. And now you know why President Trump is fighting so hard for us to be the leaders in this, and these Democrats don't want us to be. That's important.
Talk about your foundation, Work Ethic Scholarships. How's it going in the year 2026 compared to 2025?
Exponentially bananas.
I thought so.
We've grown. I mean, we've grown with every passing year. You know, I started it with a $500,000 donation 16 years ago. We did $5 million last year. We could have done a lot more. Last year, Stuart, was the first time our applications went up 10x. And I don't think I was doing anything different. I just think that the headlines have caught up to our thesis. This year, we've set aside $10 million specifically to help train the next generation of skilled workers. The money is literally sitting there right now. These are 2-year pursuits by and large. These are trade schools. This is training for the jobs that are currently open, the one that Jensen Huang is so concerned about right now. I think what you're going to see, again, no crystal ball, but you're going to be talking in the coming months to CEOs who have taken an affirmative position to do something within their own company to reinvigorate the trades, whether it's Home Depot or BlackRock or Wells Fargo, who's been incredibly beneficial with us, Palantir, Anduril. They're all going to have to grapple with this both internally and externally. And
when's the last time you've been on the precipice of something this big? I mean, think about it in your life. You know, we talk about silver, we talk about gold, we talk about oil. You may have had a chance in 1995 with Microsoft. You may have taken a shot when you were younger on Google stock. You may have taken, you may have bought into AOL. All these things were burgeoning. They were just exploding. And you may have been young, go back 30 years or so. You might just been a young kid and you didn't have a chance to really capitalize on it. And so right now, the information is everywhere if you know where to look. And when you see these captains of industry and business are looking $10 trillion, compare it to anything else. Anybody putting $10 trillion in, I don't know, Starbucks? Anybody putting $10 trillion in copiers? No, that puck is like a giant puck right now. It's staring you in the face. And he didn't say in a couple years. He said in a couple months. I don't even want to know where we're going to be in a couple years. The old Marty McFly thing, where we're going, we don't need roads. When we get to a position in this country where carpenters, electricians, and welders are making $250,000, $300,000 a year, and they're basically being poached, like he just said, and they're becoming NIL recipients like they're in the NFL draft or some big college football program, you know where the money's headed. I don't know if you know how to capitalize on it.
it's going to be a heck of a thing to build out a $10 trillion infrastructure with the workforce we have right now.
It's going to be a hell of a thing to build out the infrastructure of a $10 million industry with the people we have and their lack of training right now. And you have Democrats saying, well, we need to put a pause on everything. I bet you do want to put a pause on everything. You want to put a pause on things till you get your paws into these people. You want to figure out how to get some of that 10 trillion instead of letting people prosper around the country. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. The only thing that matters at this point is what news you're going to consume. Are you going to keep looking at the Panicans and the black pillars and all the crap that's going on? Or are you going to spend time educating yourself for what is essentially a gold rush? And I've said it many times on my show, people are going to make a lot of money over the next couple months. I can't even imagine what it's going to be in the next couple of years. And I know there's many people who are like, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what I can do. You need money to make money. All the cliches that they put in front of you to keep you from opening your eyes. And I wouldn't be telling you this if I didn't see it happen in my own life. I didn't used to have all this studio and everything else. But, we just closed on a property and waiting to get the notification and to see if when it gets funded. But just like you can find people to fund you if the deal is correct, you can also find a mechanism to get yourself prepared for what's coming, like what Mike Rowe said. The only thing holding you back is yourself. I know that sounds cliche too, but at the same token, people think it's true and it's not. It is open to you. That's what I meant when I said it's not true. It is open. You can do it. All of this AI stuff is free for you to learn. You didn't have that back in the day. We didn't have the ability to go in and learn medicine. You had to go to med school. You had to go there for 4-year degree. Then you go to med school after that. If you want to get an MBA, you had to go 4 years of school. Then you had to go to business school. Now you can just literally open up this thing and start talking to it and say, what can I do? I told Robin last night, and I told somebody else, I am going to take it upon myself to have AI teach me how to speak Spanish. And then I'm also going to ask it to teach Cantonese, Chinese. I want to learn these languages. I want to see how quickly I can become fluent in Spanish. Used to have to go to school or, buy some software or something. And I'm going to ask it. I'm going to tell you the prompt. I want you to tell me the fastest way you can teach me to be fluent in conversational Spanish. And then outline in lessons what you'd like me to do on a day-to-day basis over the next 6 months to become fluent in conversational Spanish. And then you watch. It'll just tell you, do this on day 1, do this on day 2, do this on day 3. And all you got to do is do it. Can you imagine being able to just tell some machine, teach me Spanish in 180 days on a day-to-day basis, starting with tomorrow, and then watch it tell you what to do. And then do the same thing with Cantonese or French, whatever you want. Oh, you think I'm wrong? Try it. You know what? I'll put in the program of the prompt I did tomorrow, and I'll show you how it's amazing. It's absolutely stunning. It's funny, when I was driving and I heard that clip with Mike Rowe and Stuart Varney, and I'm like, man, how am I going to find it? I'm driving. I don't have that. Well, I went into AI and said, Stuart Varney and Mike Rowe had a discussion on Fox Business. Can you find the link to that video? It literally took 15 seconds, and it summarized it and gave me the link. And I'm like, my gosh, I can find programming just like that to use on this show to profit from, just because the AI told me where that video was. I'm giving you real world examples so nobody can say, well, that's easy for you, Barry, because I've heard that some, it's easy for you, Barry. No, it's not. It's easy for the AI. It's easy for Perplexity and Chat GPT and Grok. There was a guy yesterday who was making little movies with Grok, and he shares his prompts. And I looked at that prompt, I'm like, there's where the money is. Once you learn how to use the prompts to find out what it is you need, you can't say, teach me Spanish. No, that ain't gonna work. Teach me conversational Spanish over a 180-day period with a step-by-step daily task to get there. Try it. You might be surprised. You might be very surprised. All right, let's continue.
Hi, I'm Admiral Brad Cooper, Commander of U.S. Central Command, here with my 5th update on Operation Epic Fury. We're in the 4th week of the campaign and remain on plan or ahead of plan in achieving very clear military objectives for eliminating Iran's ability to project power in meaningful ways outside its borders.
You know, Robin tells me to ignore this stuff. I can't. And the only reason I can't is because I don't want you poisoned by it. I'll come back to the CENTCOM. You guys really have to think before you post in comments. It's really bad. You're poisoning other people. You are absolutely doing your best to stop people from progressing. This comment shows up, and it says, "What should a man profit? Should he gain the whole world and lose his soul?" What are you trying to say there to other people who want to improve their position in life? Are you telling them by profiting they're going to lose their soul? You don't think people who are adults in this chat know that they need to temper themselves and understand that with profit comes responsibility? Do you think people are too stupid to know that? Or is it you just don't want people looking to obtain profit? You want them to stay where they are because that's better for you, because you'll lose your soul. I'm really overhearing this kind of stuff. And if I took your comment the wrong way, I apologize in advance. But that's not what things should be about. It should be, hey, Fred, go for it. Hey, Jimmy, go for it. Sally, I think you can do it. Not that, hey, watch out. If you profit, you might lose your whole soul. Man, we are so past that. We are so past other people using religion to keep you in a certain position. I get Bible verses every single day from Robin. I have a well-grounded head because of Robin never lets me move beyond where I should be. It's so funny. We have a running joke. If she was in the chat, she'll tell you. And I tease her and I say, Robin, you understand you're with me. I'm a pretty big deal, you know. Just joking. And I laugh at it because she doesn't care. I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care how many different people watch your videos. I don't care you have sponsors. I don't care how much money you're making. You're just him. You're just you. It's all about seeking God first. And as long as you have people in your life that tell you that, great. Stay grounded. Understand you're never too big. And especially down here in Boca, there's always somebody. I got to do that video about showing you the Boca coast over there. But we don't need people chastising each other. We're all adults here. If you don't want it, if you don't want to seek any sort of profit, so what? That's you. You do you, but you shouldn't try to stop other people. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to digress, but when I see this kind of stuff, it just drives me crazy. Be happy for people. Encourage them. That's one of the reasons why some people run from church. They don't want this all the time, especially when they've done nothing wrong. All right, I'm done.
Forces have struck more than 10,000 military targets. In fact, we hit the 10,000th Iranian target just hours ago. And if you combine what we've accomplished with the success of our Israeli ally, together we have struck thousands more, clearly demonstrating that we're stronger together. Our precision strikes have overwhelmed Iranian air defenses, and our combat flights over Iran are having tangible effects. Here are a few examples. For decades, Iranian warships have roamed regional waters, threatening and harassing global shipping. But those days are over because we've now destroyed 92% of the Iranian Navy's largest vessels. They are not sailing, and my operational assessment is that they've now lost the ability to meaningfully project naval power and influence around the region and around the world. As we've highlighted previously, Iran's drone and missile launch rates are down by more than 90%, meaning their ability to attack American forces and regional neighbors is drastically reduced. And not only have we significantly degraded Iran's naval, drone, and missile capabilities, we've also removed the regime's ability to rebuild them. Before Operation Epic Fury, Iran had large-scale manufacturing capacities to not only build naval vessels, missiles, and attack drones, but also to advance and proliferate these technologies to regional and global bad actors. Today, we've damaged or destroyed over 2/3 of Iran's missile, drone, and naval production facilities and shipyards, and we're not done yet. We are on a path to completely eliminate Iran's wider military manufacturing apparatus, which is why my operational assessment continues to be Iran's combat capability is declining as U.S. combat capability continues to increase. U.S. forces maintain air superiority over Iran's skies, having now flown over 10,000 combat flights. As I mentioned in my last update, refueling tankers are extending our reach, and fighters and bombers are delivering precise strikes against our primary objectives. Let me highlight our B-52 bomber force, which is executing a high volume of strikes into Iran and demonstrating our unmatched dominance in the air. Now in their 8th decade of flight, our B-52 bombers are executing strikes into Iran with up to 70,000 pounds of munitions on each mission. Our B-52 pilots and aircrew embody the courage and resilience of the more than 50,000 American sons and daughters serving in uniform during this operation. There is no adversary too determined, no mission too difficult, and no task too great for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Guardians, and Coast Guardsmen. I just could not be prouder of our troops, and I know the American people share that same pride. Thanks so much. Godspeed.
I wanted to leave that without have any interruption because I wanted you to have that full effect of this guy talking. And the thing with it is, how can the Democrats openly say we're losing? They have no Air Force, they have no Navy, they have no ability to replenish their Air Force or their Navy, and they are defenseless to whatever we want to drop. How can we be losing? We don't know if they have any leaders. No leader has been on television in a long time. When's the last time you've seen an Iranian leader talking to his country? Yet they keep saying we're losing. How is that? How can it possibly be? You've got no leader, no Navy, no nothing. There's nothing there. They're trying to demoralize Americans. They're trying to, for some reason, trying to tell people everything that's being done isn't working. When obviously it is. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, they released video of drone boats, patrol boats going through the Straits of Hormuz. And they're training in there and they're using AI to try and find where the mines might be and things of that nature. We're doing stuff these people had never heard of, these rock throwers. And then, some people say, well, he's sending over 10,000 Marines. We haven't even seen what they have in terms of ground troops. Understand this, whatever ground troops are available to the Iranians, they have no way to resupply. There's nobody who's going to be making more guns or doing anything. You have a completely contained enemy. And the only thing I think at this point that's slowing things down is the prospect that there might be a mine somewhere that bobs up and blows up a boat, because that would be a PR nightmare more than it would be a military nightmare. That's what they're hoping for. They're hoping people are afraid to go through the Strait of Hormuz, and that's all they have, is that fear that they have these things, that these big mines are going to come up. But other than that, they may have some drones. I understand a drone blew up a Tomahawk airport, but that wasn't during fighting. It came into a base and hit a suicide drones. That's what they're calling. So there's all these different stories and stuff out there. In order for you to believe the rumor, you have to ignore the fact. In order to believe that Iran is winning or is even a formidable opponent, you have to ignore they don't have a leader. You have to ignore that they don't have any Navy. You have to ignore that they don't have the ability to resupply. That's a lot of ignoring. I guess that's called ignorant. And so don't fall for that other stuff until somebody says, if they say America is losing, how? I'm open for ears. I mean, my ears are open. Tell me, how are we losing? PR wise, because our own media is talking crap? Maybe that is. Maybe that's what, indeed, it's just media driven. Ain't got nothing for you. All right. So before Mike still hasn't come out, let me just say, President Trump's on a plane, as we know. I'll keep waiting for him to come out. I'm going to move forward, so I want to get through this. So SV earlier in the chat was talking about JD Vance and the task force. SV, you around? Yeah. What did you?
Yes, I am.
What did you find out about this task force is going after Ilhan Omar?
Yes, I think this is based on Benny Johnson had an interview with him, and Eric Doherty posted, it's official, JD Vance's White House fraud task force is targeting Omar for committing immigration fraud. Vance says Omar definitely committed immigration fraud, and they're going to go after her.
Well, we shall see, because
I hope
we got to see something happen here. But the next story I'm going to get into is indeed that JD Vance task force meeting this morning. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that in a second here. You know, we've been, well, maybe me only, but you may have heard from other people. I don't believe what we're going to see in November is anything relevant compared to what everybody thinks it's going to be. I don't think we're going to see a normal election. I think President Trump is going to put immigration at the polling places. I think we're going to have voter ID one way or the other. And I keep listening to what the people in the administration actually say. Listen to Stephen Miller right here.
God help us if they ever got back in power, Sean. Look, under Joe Biden, we know they let in 20 million illegal aliens. Sex trafficking, labor trafficking, human trafficking, drug dealing, cartel slayings, one atrocity, one horror show after another. Now here they are trying to end the Department of Homeland Security, trying to disable the heroes who keep us safe each and every day. Remember, this department, Sean, was created after 9/11. It was created to ensure that foreign nationals could not enter this country and kill Americans. And now this party, the Democratic Party, they're at war with the heroes trying to keep the terrorists from killing our loved ones. That's what we're up against, Sean. And to your point about voter ID, why would a political party refuse to support proof of citizenship, refuse to support voter ID when you brought in all these illegal aliens, unless you were trying to ensure that illegal aliens could vote and tilt the balance of power? This strikes at the very heart of our democracy. This is about whether or not democracy as we know it survives in America, Sean.
All right. I agree. You agree. So, and President Trump agrees. So if he's on television saying that in public, what do you think they've been saying in private? The first thing he said in that clip was, if they get back in power, we're screwed. Not just me and you, the country is screwed. If he's willing to say that in television, that is basically soft disclosure to you that we can never let that happen. He's actually saying, can't happen. Can't happen. All right, what are you going to do about it? I can't tell you, but it can't happen. It's not going to happen. And so things are beginning to happen very quickly that nobody can actually put their hand on in terms of what's going on. I'm not even talking about the Senate and that stuff, but President Trump dropped something yesterday that should have made a lot of people really think. When he said, I'm going to sign an executive order and I'm going to pay TSA. He admits right there in the executive order that he is going around Congress and doing what he needs to do because he has to. And then the next question is, how can he possibly do that? You got to ask yourself that question. How can President Trump do that? Well, he can do it because, A, they have deemed it national security. And that is going to be a prevailing theme. If you're noticing, you probably don't notice because much of the media won't talk about the recent court wins. Have you been following up on the recent court wins that Pam Bondi has been getting? You know, where they can keep newcomers inside detention without giving them bond. All kinds of different things have been happening that they don't, on television, don't want you to know, that are lining up with what everything President Trump is saying. He's telling you where it's headed. He's telling you the decision has already been made. They are going to go forward with voter ID, the Save America Act, and whatever format it is, because the elections are not going to happen in November, and they're not going to put it at risk. They all know. I don't know if you saw, I should probably download it. What's his name? What the heck is his name? The Assistant Attorney General to Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche came out yesterday at CPAC and did a speech and said, we all know, we've been talking about it, that they're going to indict us. They're going to do everything they can. And so when you hear people in the administration saying, we know they're going to indict us, we know they're going to destroy democracy in America, by them telling you that, to do nothing would be malpractice. They're letting you know, hey, it's coming. We're going to have to act. You're not going to like, some of you are not going to like it. We're going to have to do things you've never seen before, because we can't let these people take office. And so they're going to freak out. They're going to scream. They're going to go bloody murder, but it might be ready for it. I know it's coming. I feel it in my bones that he's going. I don't know if we want to say Andrew Jackson or Insurrection Act or just enforcing the executive powers, but it's coming. And so today, J.D. Vance, the SV was just talking about, they're going to be targeting Ilhan Omar. The very first meeting, let me go to Mike Johnson real quick here.
It's been a long night, long day, but we just had a very fruitful, almost 2-hour conference call with all the House Republicans, and we have a united group. Let me just be completely unequivocal and put this out here in the open and in the beginning here to make clear. The Republicans are not going to be any part of any effort to reopen our borders or to stop immigration enforcement. We are going to deport dangerous criminal illegal aliens because it is a basic function of the government. The Democrats fundamentally disagree. The Senate Democrats have hoisted upon this appropriations process their radical, crazy agenda. We call it crazy because that's what it is. They want to reopen the borders, and they want to stop the deportation of dangerous criminal illegal aliens. We have to do these basic functions of government. We have to fund them in order to do them. In the last several days, we have recent examples of dangerous criminals in this country killing innocent Americans. We had an 18-year-old college student in Chicago, a young lady who was shot in the back by a dangerous criminal who had been released in that sanctuary city and first released at the border under Joe Biden. They opened the border wide for 4 years. Just yesterday, or in the last 36 hours or so, an 83-year-old man's pushed onto the subway tracks and run over by a dangerous criminal illegal alien. This has to stop. The Republicans are not going to be a party to this. They have taken hostage the funding processes of government so that they can impose their radical agenda on the American people, and we can't have any part of it. This gambit that was done last night is a joke. I'm quite convinced that it can't be that every Senate Republican read the language of this bill, and I'm going to just read you one excerpt of it because it's pretty alarming, and it says everything that you need to know in Section 4. This is on page 2 of the bill. This is an actual copy of the bill. That excerpt. It says, quote, "The contents printed under the headings of this bill, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Border Security Operations, under the heading of U.S. Customs and Border Patrol and Protection, shall have no force or effect for purposes of this act, and amounts specified in the final bill under the subheading Border Security Operations and under the heading U.S. Customs and Border Protection and under the headings of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in the Department of Homeland Security shall be zero." We're not doing that. And it is unconscionable to me that the Democrats would force some sort of negotiation at 3 o'clock in the morning and try to hoist this upon the American people and then get on their jets and go home for their holiday and pretend and think that we're going to go along with that. So we're going to do something different. We're going to do the responsible thing. Republicans are going to continue to govern and do the right thing morally, legally, and politically. We are going to take care of those who take care of us. The employees in the Department of Homeland Security have gone without funding and without paychecks for 42 days. It's the second longest shutdown in U.S. history, bested only by the longest shutdown in U.S. history that these same radical Democrats hoisted upon the government in the fall of last year. 42 days they've gone without pay. We've had, by some estimates, close to 500 TSA agents who have resigned from their jobs, and who could blame them? They've gone half the fiscal year without a regular paycheck. We can't ask that of anyone. And the lines around the airlines and at the airports have been wrapped around the buildings because of all this turmoil. We are very grateful to have a strong commander-in-chief in the White House who has taken real leadership. President Trump has already ordered by executive order that TSA agents will be paid, and that machinery is in process right now. The Office of Management and Budget is working through that to make sure that that happens, and we will reduce the lines and the waits at the airlines, and we'll make sure that those who are protecting us are paid. But what we are going to present and what we're going to vote on this floor, our Rules Committee is working through this right now. We're going to put a clean, simple, continuing resolution that will go until May 22nd. It's just a number of weeks, to allow for all those who sacrificially serve the country and protect other Americans. All these agencies, 10 agencies under the Department of Homeland Security, will continue at their current funding levels to make sure that they are protected. We're going to send that over to the Senate, and we hope that they'll accept that. They can do it in record time just like that with the unanimous consent. They could do that as early as Monday. In the meantime, TSA will be paid. We will have done our jobs, and we will protect the homeland, because that is the most basic responsibility of the Congress, is to protect the American people. We're not playing political games on this. We encourage some of our Democrats, hopefully we'll have some of our Democrats in the House who go along with this and stop the pain that's being forced upon these people. The reason that we can't accept this ridiculousness, okay, is because we're not going to risk not funding the agencies that keep the American people safe. The Department of Homeland Security is the third largest department in the federal government. It has 10 agencies beneath it. It's not just TSA, it's also FEMA, the Coast Guard, all these agencies that keep us safe. We must fund them. This is not a game. Republicans will do the responsible and honorable thing, and Democrats will continue to play politics.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker. You and John Thune are not on the same page. You came out and criticized Democrats. He was the engineer behind this. Why are you guys not on the same page? And are you not extending the shutdown? If you were to accept what the Senate had passed, this could end tonight and the TSA lines would shrink.
I wouldn't call John Thune the engineer of this. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate have forced this upon the Senate. I have to protect the House. Let me answer the question, Chad. I have to protect the House, and I have to protect the American people. That's our responsibility. Our colleagues on this side understand this is not a game. We are not playing their games. These people want open borders, and they want criminal, illegal aliens in the country. They do not want to enforce the law. They want to literally defund. You just read it in the bill here. They want to give $0 to enforcing federal immigration laws and keeping the border secure. That was the biggest issue in the election of 2024, the wide open border that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris hoisted upon the country. And 20 million, by some estimates, 20 million dangerous, criminal, illegal aliens included in that number came over the border. We have terrorists in our country. We have obviously murderers. They're putting it on display. And then these big blue cities that have sanctuary city policies, they're releasing these people onto the streets. They released them over the border when they came over under the Biden years. And that is the turmoil that we're facing right now, the very serious threats to the homeland and everybody. It's not just long lines at the airport. It is the danger and safety of everyone. We'll talk more after this is passed. We'll get it done.
Has the president endorsed this plan? Has the president endorsed this plan, Mr. Speaker? Has the president endorsed
I spoke to the president a few moments ago. He understands exactly what we're doing and why, and he supports it. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. The American people are just sick and tired of every one of you, both Republicans and Democrats, come to this podium and blame the other side. People have been standing in lines 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. There's TSA workers that are selling their plasma. At what point is a leader on either side going to stand up and say, we have a path forward that everyone will agree to? This vote today will extend the shutdown under any circumstance.
No, it won't. No, it won't. Thank you. Let me answer the question. I'm glad you brought it up. The House Republicans have now voted that today will be the 4th time to fund the Homeland Security. This is not party blame game. This is a record. You can hold up the record. Look at the Democrats. They're voting over and over. Yesterday afternoon, we gave them a chance to fund Homeland Security. You know how many House Democrats voted yes? 4 of them. They want to use people as pawns. People are not pawns. These are workers who are sacrificially serving the country, many of them without pay, to make sure that you and your families are safe. And we're done with it. This is not a political blame game. This is one party doing the job and getting the government funded in another that's using people as pawns. We're not going to do that. Listen, we're going to send it over there, and you can see what they do. If this is not USEED and they don't do it, the president has shown leadership. He's going to fund TSA agents. We'll get that covered. But we have the rest of the country to take care of. We're not asking them to do anything heroic. These aren't partisan games. We're not adding bells and whistles to this. It is a clean continuation of funding to make sure that the most basic responsibility of government is fulfilled. And we'll see how that goes and see what they do.
Okay, so it seems like he's ready to throw John Thune under the bus. We're not doing this. And so President Trump, his executive order to actually fund TSA is what they're going to rely on. They don't seem at all like they want to deal with this crap from the Democrats. And I don't understand why John Thune just took off. And now here's where it gets really bad, is because at this point, both the Republicans and the Democrat Senate has left. They've left the building. And so there's no way, and if they don't sign it, here, let's listen to what they say.
It immediately bristled at what the Senate passed last night, taking issue with the treatment of ICE in the bill, making it very clear that he's looking for this short-term solution, 60-day resolution.
I thought it was interesting that he rejected Chad's question that, John Thune, the majority leader in the Senate, was the architect of this, because it was Thune who struck the compromise with the Democrats and put this thing on the floor.
Sounds like he's throwing, like I said, he threw John Thune under the bus, rolled the bus backwards, went it forward, and stepped all over John Thune. Like, John Thune doesn't speak for us. That's pretty much what he said. And then there was a video that showed John Thune hurriedly getting through the airport and getting out of town. Almost like John Thune expected Mike Johnson to rip this up, and it goes right back to where we are. I don't know how it's going to change other than the president doing what he said he was going to do. Let's listen with this guy, Larry Kudlow's talking.
And ICE and the Customs and Borders Patrol, they're funded in one big, beautiful bill.
Correct.
Up to through 2029, okay? So therefore, they didn't need the money. This wasn't a money issue for them the way it was right now, for the rest of DHS, TSA and cybersecurity and Coast Guard and FEMA and all the rest. So I'm a little puzzled. Again, Mike Johnson's a really smart guy. I just don't know what he's looking at, because the fact that there's no money in this bill for ICE is not shouldn't be a troubling aspect. The issue was to stop the Democrats from rolling back ICE, and essentially
they didn't get any of that.
Neutering. So they didn't get any of that. They stopped it out. And so they figured out how to do a DHS bill without ICE and without the customs. So I'm surprised at what Speaker Johnson is saying. But
all right. So if these guys are surprised at what Mike Johnson just did, and he said he spoke to the president a little while ago, then there's something cooking. There's no way Mike Johnson, unlike Thune, would have done something different than what the president wanted. So President Trump, just a second ago, I don't know, obviously he's on the airplane, he just posted 10 minutes ago, he posted this. He goes, gonna make a big speech on economics in Miami. Our military operation in Iran is going great, President Trump. That was at 2:16. He literally just posted that minutes ago. So I don't know what's about to break. Sounds like we may hear something at his 5:30 speech. So let me get through the rest of this show so I can get ready for the 5:30 speech. This was the task force. It was very short. J.D. Vance, with a lot of the people in the cabinet, held a I won't say at a press conference, more like an announcement, an introduction to this new task force that's going to be going after fraud big time. And he drops a few nuggets as he's talking. And by the way, I was talking to Ashley, I'm like, the room that you're going to see, that's exactly where they had us doing our interviews. I told Robin, I was sitting right there. It's awesome. I don't know, just made me feel good.
Seeing you there. Okay, great. Well, it's good to see everybody. Hell, we have half the cabinet here. We just done a cabinet meeting. It's good to see everybody and good to see the press this morning. So we're going to say a few words and then kick you guys out for the interesting part, which will be the closed door meeting. First of all, great to have our new DHS Secretary, Mark Wayne Mullen, here. Great to have Colin McDonald here, who has been confirmed but not yet sworn into his new position at the Department of Justice. And I would say that's maybe the most exciting thing that's actually happened on the Fraud Task Force is the fact that we now have a leader on the anti-fraud side at DOJ who is going to work with the task force, who's going to use the resources that we're putting together to make sure that we really supercharge this anti-fraud effort. So let me just say a few things about this, and then I want to kick it over to Andrew. Oh, hello, Brooke. Brooke's alarm clock didn't go off this morning. So here's the basic problem that we've had in this government going back for probably 30 or 40 years is that you've never had an administration that has really taken this seriously until the president put us really from day one of the Trump administration who said we have to take the fraud issue seriously. And a lot of the anti-fraud protections that existed in our government for a very long time were actually turned off by the Biden administration. So we think fraud has been a problem for a long time. It became a massive, massive problem under the Biden administration. We're going to do a number of things. First of all, we're going to turn back on those anti-fraud protections so that all of these cabinet officials are looking at what's going on and focusing on it. The second thing is that we're going to take a whole of government approach. So much of what's going to make the anti-fraud task force work is that we're communicating across different departments. So when Bobby Kennedy is talking to Scott Bessent about things that he's seeing in Medicare and Medicaid, when Scott is seeing things at Treasury, when Brooke is seeing things at Agriculture, when Scott is seeing things at Housing and Urban Development, what we're going to actually do is force the bureaucracy to take this seriously and work together as political principles to make sure that we stop allowing fraudsters to steal the American people's money. And that brings me to my final point before I'll kick it over to Andrew, who is leading this anti-fraud task force. This is not just theft of the American people's money. This is also theft of critical services that the American people rely on. Some of you have heard me tell this story before, but I think that the autism scam that we've seen in the Somalian parts of Minnesota really illustrates well what's been going on across whole layers of our government. So you have a program set up under Medicaid to help autistic children and their families get the resources that they need, because of course we know that when you have a kid who's on the spectrum, it requires a little bit more help, a little bit more services. And so the government, enforcing the mandate from the American people to be kind and compassionate to our citizens, has set up this program to help families who are dealing with these particular struggles. Now, what we've seen is Somali fraudsters at an industrial scale taking advantage of that program to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. And there are two separate tragedies there. The first tragedy is that you have people who pay into the federal government, who pay into the IRS, who pay their taxes expecting that those taxes will go to help their fellow citizens, and it's not going there. It's going to help fraudsters. That's tragedy number one. And the more important tragedy is that you have families who need these services who are unable to get them because people are getting rich off of fraud schemes instead of making sure that autistic children and their families get access to these resources. And unfortunately, that story, while it's very concrete and very obvious what we're seeing in Minneapolis, it is replayed again and again and again across many states and across many different programs. It has to stop. The President of the United States has ordered us to stop it, and that's what this task force is going to do. So without further ado, I'll kick it over to Andrew, who will talk about some of our work here today. But the most exciting thing is that this task force is finally stood up. We've got allies at Department of Justice now who are going to take this thing by the horns. We've got allies across every major significant department, and we are going to stop the fraud that's being committed against the American people. Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I'd like to begin by thanking President Trump and the Vice President for the confidence they put in me to help lead the task force. America is the most generous nation in the history of the world. For decades, Americans have turned over trillions of their tax dollars to social welfare programs to help their neighbors and fellow citizens through hard times. They've done so on the basis of social trust, the belief that their governments, state and federal, will do the right things with their dollars and that their fellow citizens will honestly participate in these programs. Fraud shreds the social trust on which these programs and our entire nation depend. This fraud crisis is thus existential. If we fail to address it, the fabric of our nation will swiftly unravel. And the American people feel like they are getting ripped off, and they're right. As the President's executive order establishing this task force declared, extensive, undetected fraud can only exist in a system that ignores it. And fraud is indeed easy to ignore when grasping politicians are in on the con. For years, the Biden administration and its allies in Democrat-run states knew of this corruption in our federal benefits programs and did nothing about it. Their failures have robbed every American citizen of their tax dollars, but even worse, they've deprived American citizens who actually need these services. Every dollar diverted to a fake hospice or a fake autism center, every dollar paid to an upcoding hospital deprives an American citizen who needs these essential services. Fraud therefore wounds the neediest among us, the very people that Americans want to help when they fund our social welfare programs. Finally, we have a president who is doing something about this corruption crisis. We are here today because President Trump and Vice President Vance won't ignore it. And we won't ignore the public officials who have facilitated it. Our work on this task force will be to develop a comprehensive national strategy to combat the corruption of our federal benefits programs and to assist the Department of Justice in prosecuting those who have corrupted them. In doing so, we will restore the social trust that has been lost because of mismanagement and fraud. The presence today of so many members of the President's cabinet, including the Vice President himself, is a testimony to the importance of our work and its priority in this administration. Together, we can remove the scourge of fraud in our federal benefits programs, and we can restore public confidence in their efficacy and integrity. I look forward to our important work. And with that, I'll turn it over to Stephen Miller.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you to the Vice President for your leadership in establishing this task force and for gathering us all here today. And I have some personal behind-the-scenes experience with talking to the Vice President and seeing how resolutely determined he was at the very first exposure of some of these shocking discoveries to create, establish, and launch this task force. And if you knew what I knew about the people at this table, you would understand just how committed this government, this administration is to ending this massive theft of American taxpayer dollars. The people at this table are all united in absolute determination to stop this plague of fraud, criminality, and abuse. I think what's important for Americans to understand about how pervasive and widespread the fraud is that all of our systems were set up and established for a high-trust society. I think that most citizens probably assume that there's some verification process that takes place for the receipt of most federal benefits. The reality is that there is not.
I had to stop it there because I want to make sure you guys weren't looking away when he said that, is that there is no inherent verification process for federal money being given out. We knew this all the way back from Wally Nigerian with USAID. They have now confirmed as a part of this task force, people don't verify anything. They just take your money.
Particularly true in blue states, willfully true in blue states, in which all of these programs are operated entirely on the honor system. No verification takes place before individuals are enrolled in or receive these benefits. So as a simple example, if you're a Somali refugee living in Minnesota, you could lie about how many children you have. You could lie about what your immigration status is. You could lie about your marital status. You could lie about child care. You could lie about disability. You could lie about all these things and many more. And nobody in the state of Minnesota would validate any of these facts before writing you a check. We at the federal government are simply sent a bill from the state of Minnesota
for the cost of providing these services in the aggregate. So to take the food stamp program as an example, SNAP, and that of course is administered by Secretary Rollins, we do not know the names of any SNAP recipient in the state of Minnesota. We just get a blank check. We have asked the state repeatedly and tried to compel the state unsuccessfully to turn over their SNAP enrollment rolls so we could ascertain such basic facts as, are these people even legally eligible to receive these benefits? And the state has refused. Absolutely, categorically refused. And in fact, the state has spent millions of dollars in court for the singular purpose of trying to prevent the state from ascertaining the identity of a single SNAP recipient in the entire state of Minnesota. Think about what this does to public trust, social trust, people's faith in the system, right? Imagine in a community, a working class community in the Twin Cities, say a native Minnesotan who works as a lineman or works as a construction worker, works in any job that requires hard work, dedication, focus, who's worried about his ability to support for and provide his family. And then imagine that he has a neighbor who's a Somali refugee who arrived 2 years ago and has a Mercedes and no financial stress and no worries at all in the entire world and never seems to ever go to work at all because he just went to an office in the state, lied on a piece of paper, and got unlimited free money forever for life. That is the system that is being run, and that is the corruption that this task force under the leadership of the Vice President is going to demolish. And I'll just conclude by saying that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the atrocity that is taking place in Congress with congressional Democrats fighting relentlessly to abolish the very federal agencies that are responsible for policing and investigating fraud as well as all matters of homeland and national security. I see, of course, a new secretary who has just been confirmed to DHS, my good friend, Mark Wayne Mullen. He now takes command of a department whose men and women have been working without pay for weeks on end to protect and defend the American people, to protect and defend our coastlines, to protect and defend our families. Well, they've been treated with nothing but derision, hatred, and contempt by congressional Democrats. It is legislative terrorism. It is one of the greatest abominations that has ever occurred in the history of this country, and it's to the everlasting and eternal shame of the Democrat Party. Again, thank you, Mr. Vice President, for your leadership and vision in establishing this task force. I'm proud to serve on it under your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks, everybody. We're not going to take questions because we have some very important work to do, but we will certainly do some press events in the future. Thank you all.
There's no way those two statements by Stephen Miller can be taken as anything but they know what they need to do. You can subscribe to the panic and stuff if you want. It is obvious to me at this point, especially you can underscore it with what Mike Johnson just did, is that this administration is done playing games with the game players. If John Thune is going to be on that side and play games, then sorry, John, you're done. We're going to go past you. So everybody looking at every poll out there says we're going to lose the midterms. They have no idea what's coming. They are telling you flat out. They're done with this. They've been stealing from you. No verification whatsoever. Money going to dead people. It doesn't matter. You get an invoice, pay it. The states won't even tell them who we're paying. You would never run your house like that. If you ask for a job to be done, somebody to cut your hedges, clean your pools, pressure wash your sidewalks, you want validation that it's actually happening. If any of you have ever been to a real estate closing, we just did one yesterday, and you've signed a pile of papers like that, and it has to be notarized. Everything notarized, 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 signed, notarized. But yet, if you want money from our federal government, just show up from Somalia and say, give me. I got 10 kids, they can't eat, and I need some money and I need some health care. Give me the card. Everything I need. Food stamps. Sure, have it. These people know it. This is probably going to be the most feared agency in the country with what they're going to be doing. Good. Go for it. Go after them. Do everything you need to do. All right, so I'm going to have to cut. Let me hit with SV, see if he's got that. I'm going to do super chats, and then I'm going to do an abbreviated after party because we got another show at 5:30. President Trump should be landing probably by 3:30 or so. SV, anything new?
Well, I know you're busy, but I have to talk about this. It's a small alert. The LA mayoral candidate, Spencer Pratt, do you know who he is?
Yes.
Okay, he was being interviewed by let me read the whole thing. He fires back against Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass after a reporter asked him if being a reality TV star is hurtful for his campaign. He goes, ready for a little mic drop. That was from 20 years ago. If we look at what Karen Bass was doing 20 years ago, she was in Cuba learning how to make bombs with the people who would then go poof, Capitol Hill. Woo! Crazy.
Oh, gosh. It's so
I'll
funny.
go out on that one.
You know, it's the same thing they did with Justice Kavanaugh. He went to keg parties. Like, who didn't go to keg parties when it was the most outrageous thing that people were talking about what was happening at a keg party when he was in high school. And then they brought like this high school book in where he circled keg party. And I'm like, oh my God, crazy. And then, never mind, you know the story. Anyway, thank you very much for today.
Right. Well, we'll see you in a couple hours, Barry.
I'm telling you, this task force is going to be lots of fangs in that, a lot of power. The fact that the vice president is the one who's ahead of it, that tells you how much power it's going to have behind it. So I love it.
I'm loving it. All right, see you soon.
All right. Oh, you found out when the launch is? Is it a night launch?
Yeah, I did send it to you. A viewer in the chat let me know, and I did a little more grokking. It's April 1st if the window is available in the evening. If not, there's a couple extra days during the week of between April 2nd and the 6th. Okay. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think we definitely, if that's going to be viewed, we should cover it.
Yeah,
it's not something you see every day.
We lived in Daytona Beach, and we used to see it wasn't too far from where they would launch in Cape Canaveral, and night launches are just amazing. The entire sky lights up. I mean, 6:25, it's not going to be too dark.
Yeah.
Probably won't be much dark at all, but I wish it was later. That would be awesome. All right. Thank you, SV.
All right. See you soon.
All right, everybody, let me go ahead and do super chats and then go home and eat and then get ready for this afternoon. Oops, wrong button. I meant this button. All right, here's the button I wanted. SV, good job and funny. Prostitutes. That is pretty funny. From Fazul. Redeem Patriot. America, make America anti-freeloader again. Indeed. Chiosop, tell Dems they can use AI to cheat and then they'll love it. Yeah, really. Once they figure that out, they'll probably figure out how to use it for their benefit. Oh, gosh, that would be horrible. Helen, thanks to everyone for all you do. Blessings from Virginia. Thank you. Nicholas Lamonicus. Barry, radio started commercially in 1920. Wow, there will always be an audio video medium. The delivery will change. Exactly. And Chiosop, one of my companies is a dumpster company. I make money from garbage. One of our friends has a master's degree, but is unemployed. Bingo. Bingo. By the way, what's his name? Wayne Huizenga picked up a lot of trash, and he was the guy who got Blockbuster. And he created Waste Management. And New Jersey Sound wrote a song about Iran titled it Freedom Spreads It. Yeah, send it to us. If it's not copyright, I'll play it. Chiosop, my grandpa had a printing company, was uneducated, signed with an X, but used him to engineer to go on estimates with him to write up the proposals for $50. My grandfather made thousands. Absolutely. Now, speaking of thousands, let me close with something. Just to give you an idea, just a little taste of what it's like down here in Palm Beach County, because everybody was worried that the new Palm Beach County person that won over by Mar-a-Lago would be worried. No, I ain't worried. I ain't worried at all. Let me tell you how much, how little other people are worried. You ready for this one? You won't be. WeatherTech founder pays $68 million for a Florida estate with an underground tunnel to the beachside cabana. Billionaire David McNeil buys Manalapan Mansion. If you know where that is, that's just south of Mar-a-Lago. I mean, just a few, maybe less than 2 miles away from Mar-a-Lago in that same district. I just wanted to highlight that he just bought a $68 million gargantuan mansion with wellness spa and 2 bowling alleys. And there's a picture of the house right there with that's the intercoastal on the top side, and that's the ocean on this side, or the other way around. Yeah, it's the other way around. This is the intercoastal side probably, and that's the other side is the ocean side. People who don't live here don't know. That's what I'm going to leave it there. When they were all freaking out about this Palm Beach person winning that district, oh, it's going to turn like Mondami. I don't think so. I don't think somebody's buying a $68 million gargantuan mansion down the street from Mar-a-Lago if they're worried even this much about the people in politics here, even though it's a blue county, Palm Beach County, historically blue. Nobody's worried. It ain't going to happen. That's why I said before, there's a difference between Democrats and libtards. And the amount of money that I've been telling you that's been flocking into Palm Beach County down here it's simply otherworldly. $68 million for a house with an underground tunnel. People don't know if they're not here. And that's why I was trying to tell people, stop listening to the panicking, stop listening to the media. It's all good in Florida. It's going to continue to be good in Florida. It's crazy good in Florida. Talk to you guys in right about 3 hours.